How long does it take to do? I don't think I've got anything. I could just hold my phone up to the camera.
Red hot.
Hello.
Hello.
This is the best trick you'll ever buy.
First, you introduce your prediction and place it under an object. I always use a spectator with a Rubicon ball, but you can use a spectator with a brick, a spanner, a baby, or anything you want.
That card. And I'm going to leave that. Can I place that under the bottle? Is that alright?
Yeah,
so you know I'm not going to touch it or anything like that. I'll leave it right there.
Then, the people you're performing for pick any number between 1 and 52, and then you deal down that exact amount of cards and stop on the card they select.
6, 37, and there is 38. I can see this card. You've arrived at 38th card. The 8 of diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
That is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Then you reveal your prediction, and it matches perfectly.
My prediction is here from a different packet of cards, and that card is also the 8 of diamonds.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Then you knock 'em for 6.
Every single card is actually
Oh. That was a plot twist.
yeah. Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. I wasn't expecting them to all be black, so I've not seen one of those tricks before. Absolutely amazed.
Plot twist.
And they can check 'em out.
Exciting.
Have a look. Here we go.
Ooh, that's good.
That was good.
I like that one.
I was surprised. I was. Exciting.
Yeah, how was that?
That was good. I think that's a wrap, Joel. Just be careful, the edge is right there in front of you, so yeah. Right, Brill, thanks ever so much. Oh! Oh shit, Joel! Joel! No. Oh, no. No.
Alright.
Are you sure?
This is going to go well. Hello!
We're on. We're live.
We're live. And for the first time ever, we're in the same room.
We are indeed. We're in the office.
We're in the office.
We're in the should we call it a studio?
The studio. Yes, we're in the studio. We've socially distanced enough from everybody else that we're all right. And I promise not to lick his face.
Oh, no, you said you would.
Not on camera.
Oh well.
Well, if we get enough likes.
We've got one already. Looks like Wayne Goodman's already liked it.
Well, that's true. That's all right. So good evening. How are you all? Hope you're all well.
Yeah.
Hope another Wednesday's flown through. Can't believe we're here already. It's frightening.
I know.
So
midweek already, people.
I know. Hump. That's what they call it, isn't it? Hump day.
Is it a hump day? Is Wednesday a hump day?
Hump day, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what are you doing watching this? God, never mind. So yeah, so we've had a few questions that people have wanted to ask and that sort of thing, and we've got a fabulous guest on this evening.
We do. We've got Wayne Goodman on today. I've known Wayne for years. I used to work with Wayne. It must have been almost, I would say, about 18 years ago.
Right.
And we used to work on a bit of a cabaret circuit together. We used to travel around performing in different hotels around little towns and cities in Spain.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and that's how I met him. And he actually helped me put my very first act together.
So Wayne's to blame, is he?
Wayne is to blame.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
word.
yeah. That was obviously years ago, as I said.
Mm.
Wayne's a comedy magician.
Yeah.
But he's also really good, not just at comedy, stage presence, his close up, everything is just honestly like absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And as a technical magician as well, he's
yeah.
really,
I mean,
really
we were just showing. He was showing us a few bits and pieces that he's going to show tonight and actually teach and that sort of thing. And they were superb. They were really good.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes us quite jealous, really, because he's the whole package. You know what I mean? It's not good.
Hey. So how's everybody doing? Let us know how you are, and if you could do us a massive favour and hit share, that would be brilliant.
Yeah. So we're thinking, would it be too far if we had a mock-up picture of Cher with a black eye and Joelle with a boxing glove? Just hit share.
Oh no! The very first time we said that, I was hysterics. I think I even had to like pull myself out of the screen because I was just laughing so much. Oh.
Yeah, we don't promote violence to pop stars. Well, we don't promote violence to anybody really. Don't be hitting anybody. It's not good.
Gareth Whitty's on. Gareth, thank you very much for leaving us a review. He left us a review, didn't he?
He did. A very nice review indeed.
Yeah. Instacart.
Yeah. So if you've not seen that, we have shared it in our groups and stuff. So go and have a look at that. That's fab.
And we've just found out that, well, it seems to be a little sneak behind the camera that Instacart's going to go global. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So
if you've not ordered one yet, I know there's one person waiting on one, and I know, but we've had a hold up with customs. Yeah. So they're going to arrive tomorrow morning. I will get them out first thing tomorrow for you. So Paul, thank you for your patience. I'll slip you something else in. Don't worry. Don't tell Joelle. They'll be fine. So
Gareth Whitty seems to be on the wrong show. Unless it's called. Where's Daniel?
Oh no,
Jack?
Daniel's watching.
Oh, is he on?
Yeah.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi,
How are you doing? Are you well?
Hope you're keeping well.
So well, we had Daniel on a couple of weeks ago. That was good. I've been practicing. So are you ready? So this was one of the things. Not dropping the card, clearly.
That was
not
good.
dropping the card, but misdirection because I palmed it.
Whoa.
Yeah. So this was if you didn't watch not last week before when Daniel was on, he taught a palm as you're cutting the cards. So there we go. So there's the palm.
That looks really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to teach you. Go back, watch it, share it.
Yeah.
Share it with magicians that you like. Share it with magicians you don't like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to this week, Andy?
Oh, do you know, it's been busy. I don't know where the time's gone.
You've done a few online shows.
I'm getting a bit busier with regards to just in general, a few more phone calls and emails and stuff like that.
And inquiries.
Yeah, so we're doing okay.
Good.
I'll be honest though, I don't know whether I want to be traveling all over the country.
Well, that's
driving and
it's one thing I was kind of wondering if this is going to change people's kind of outlook on what they've previously done.
Yeah.
You know, do you think that you'll probably take less work?
Possibly. I mean,
and just do the work that you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I've survived on, the bits we've done and everything else. I mean, do I really want to be
stressed out,
working, driving,
traveling? I do, because I want to get that right back of traveling around and performing and
you're still young. Wait till you get to my age. Wait till you get to this level of grey hair or non-existent hair.
My grey hair, my hair's greyer than yours. Look at that.
I did notice when we were filming the other day, and I'm like, is that the sun? I didn't say anything.
Notice?
Yeah, I didn't say anything though.
Didn't say anything.
No. It would have gone. It would have gone. I'm going to the chemist. I'm going to get some.
Chemist?
Yeah.
How do you get your hair done? I thought you get it from supermarkets.
I don't know. Is that when they get? I don't know. As you can tell, I have no idea.
What colour's your hair naturally?
Ginger.
Hang on. Are you not ginger? Are you ginger?
Oh.
What colour are you naturally?
This colour. It's grey. It's going grey.
Naturally grey.
I'm naturally grey.
You're naturally grey now. But what colour were you before you went old?
Oh, right. Well, are you ready for my history of hair?
Yeah. The hair history.
People were watching for card tricks, and now they're going. I was blonde up until about 13, and then I went sort of a light brown. Then I was one of the kids that had like massive curtains down to here, and it was the rage to
Like
lift
that?
your hair and comb it, and
Was that
not
bad?
comb it. Yeah, it was like that. Yeah. So no, but they were long. I had long curtains to about here, and they were.
Did you have hair like that?
Yeah,
But longer?
yeah, just parted down the middle. What are you laughing for? It was the
I know, because I had them as well at one point.
no. What I did, I used to lift the hair and bick underneath. So all this was. So you just have. Don't laugh.
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah.
No way.
Well, I think the reason my hair is as bad as it is one time I couldn't find a razor. I was only 14, 15.
Right.
Couldn't find a razor, and I found my mum's imac. So I imacked underneath my hair.
I thought you were going to say you found your mum wax.
No,
Waxed it.
no. This was like early 1990s.
Yeah, well, wax existed in the 90s, I think.
Yeah, but not prolifically. I mean, people in Sheffield weren't waxing. They weren't.
Oh,
So,
have we got anybody who's still logged on watching?
so anyway, so I imacked it, and it broke off, and it were all horrible for like months and months.
Right.
So then I had to just shave it all off.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I used to have a hairdresser in Barrow when I was a kid, and he was called Ernie. And you'd go with
Was it the fastest barber in the West?
Yeah, you'd think so. Well, he was, because all he used to do, no matter what you asked for, you'd go in and say, right, I want a step. It was called a step, wasn't it?
I want a wedge.
Yeah, I want the wedge. And you'd go in and he'd just shave it all off.
Yeah.
No matter what you asked for, he just shaved it off.
Yeah.
It was called Ernie All Off. Called
Oh, no, you didn't.
Dear. You'd have these dreams about an amazing haircut, thinking, right, I'm going to make sure all the girls fancy me at school. I'm going to get a step with a little centre part in.
And you just went and had an Ernie.
And then you went to Ernie's and he shaved it all off. Gone.
There we go.
Yeah. Blimey neck.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're meant to be talking about magic.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we've had a few questions. We asked you what you'd like to talk about.
Just got to say something very quickly.
Right, okay.
Gideon.
Yeah.
Was 40 in February.
Oh, happy birthday, Gideon. I was 40.
It was February.
Yeah, well, happy birthday. I mean, you're a bit late, Gideon, really.
Yeah, what are you after, Gideon? A birthday present?
You should have let it know.
I know we've given out a lot of prizes during the show, but now you're pushing it.
I didn't even get a present on Saturday. My birthday. I was 40 on Saturday.
Gareth Witt is 48. Doesn't look a day under, does he?
No, don't look a day over 47, does he?
No.
Can't say that. He did a really nice review. Gareth, we love you. Don't listen.
I'm playing.
Don't listen.
I'm playing. I'm going to be 30 in a week. No, I'm not. I'm going to be 36 in a week.
Do you know? Right, we can check because you left this in my car the other day.
So I can find out how old I actually am.
Yeah.
This is my passport.
Yeah. Do you know it don't say your date of birth?
It does.
Oh, there we go.
I can't
85.
come too close.
85. Yeah.
1985.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's yours.
There you go. So how old am I?
You don't know how old you are?
No, I don't. Honestly, don't. I'm either 35.
35.
35 going on 36.
Yes, you'll be 36.
All right, so I'll be 36 in a week.
You'll be 36.
If anybody wants my PayPal for a present, then don't send me a present. Just send me the cash.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we had a few questions, didn't we?
We did.
What were they? I don't know. Did we even have any?
Yeah, of course we did.
Did we?
You replied to them.
Are we just pretending we've had questions to make it look like people bother?
No. One of the questions was pocket management.
Yes, it was.
What's important about pocket management? And
Yeah.
it's difficult, really, because it was really important when we were working, but now I'm doing Zoom shows. It's not important at all because I have everything
You
to
can have it in
hand.
your kitchen and run
Yeah,
off and
I can
grab
be
it.
like, I'll do all the bits that I don't usually do because I don't have to put them in my pocket. So,
I found like when I was traveling around a lot and doing a lot of weddings, I used to always want to perform a big variety of routines. So carrying in my pockets, I honestly, and I'm not kidding, I would carry chopped cup, with chopped balls, 2 loads, packet of playing cards, rope, rubber bands, I used to carry a coin routine. It was
Okay.
like a coin in the hand, and then I'd finally open it up, and it would turn into a sweet, you know, like the old bubble gums.
Oh, right,
I
yeah.
used to do like a retro bubblegum thing. And I would carry, more than that, absolutely, my pockets would be wedged full of stuff.
When I first started, it would be, but now I wear a waistcoat. So I have my 2 inside pockets. I have my ticket pocket of my jacket, which is the small one below the inside pocket. 2 outer pockets and my breast pocket, that's in my jacket. 2 pockets in my waistcoat, which I don't tend to put a great deal in, but there's just a few bits in there. And then I have 2 back pockets, which have 1 thing in each, and then my front pockets.
Right.
Right pocket, always card to wallet. My left pocket is my brainwave deck. Then I've got my Sharpies and my spoon around.
Yeah.
In there. I have my wallet, which is a Peak wallet with my business cards in.
Yeah.
I
always find I'll put my rubber bands on my wrists, obviously.
Yeah.
Put my loop on my right hand blinker. And I've always got wallet hacker in my wallet, always set up. And I use that as like a double card. I use the real man's wallet.
Yeah.
So I'll perform like 2 cards to wallets.
All right. Okay.
So, you know, that, and then I find, but I'll do that in the same routine.
Yeah.
And what is really nice, if you use the real man's wallet for wallet hacker, you always have, so you pull out the playing card from the wallet compartment and show them it.
Yeah.
Well, what you can do is act like you're getting rid of it, but then instantly load it underneath it and instantly make it reappear in your wallet again.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird moment
where it's out your wallet and then it's jumped back in straight away. Yeah, no, that's really good.
Yeah.
I've been working more on if you didn't see it last week, I did a prediction where there was an envelope with a question mark on, and inside the envelope was a wallet, which was all banded up, and then in the wallet was a signed card. If you didn't watch it, go last week's, you can watch it again. But that's using Wallet Hacker, and I've been working on that to actually put into my Zoom show.
Yeah.
I did a version of it earlier on today at the show. Went down really well.
Yeah.
Really built up the tension with it.
Yeah.
And it was there all the time, so they could see it and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it looked great. I
don't really think that it's difficult at the moment.
One thing that I was going to say is that very recently we were honestly talking about creating a little thing for your belt.
Yeah.
About how we could actually look after props so they're attached to your belt. So rather than going into your pocket, but then I was trying to think, well, they've been done before.
Yeah.
But surely, like, there's something that we could create that's like an advantage, rather than just going onto your belt and pulling some stuff out, which is great because that already exists.
Yeah.
Right. What if there was a way to, you know, have stuff on your belt, but it's like easy to steal but secure?
Yeah.
So you can start making even the props that you use in appear and
so rather than just getting some cards out, you make the cards appear and
Because I use the Pro Show holder by Gary James for my little mini chop cup.
All right, okay.
And it's great. I mean, like carrying that around, if I was to carry even a mini chop cup, realistically, is horrible in your pocket.
It's just one pocket.
Exactly, yeah. So I use the Pro Show holder for that, you see. So, you know.
Gareth said Jay Sanker's assassin's pouch.
Yeah, it's a great pouch. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it is. It's really good. It holds a couple of coins, thumb tips, and a packet of cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did used to use a top it, and that's what I ended up doing.
Right.
I just ended up using it as storage.
So it's like everything, a bag.
Yeah, just everything got chucked in. And then I was like, I can do that.
Right. That's a good idea, though. That's why not? It's just a whole load of space.
It is a lot of space.
And it keeps your pockets free.
But it just ends up being bulky. That's what you've got. I think the thing with the belt is if you put lots of stuff on it, then it can start to grow where you're having like bulky things out the side because you've got more stuff on you. Yeah, sorry, I missed what you said then. Do you mean like new suits and things like that? No. Well, if you imagine you've got your belt and then you've got your chop cup and then you've got something else and something else. Oh yeah. Your jacket's going to bulge out from the side. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So like it is abnormally large hips. Like that. His magic's okay, but he's got childbearing hips. But I think they look. Sorry, not your hips. I think ultimately
carrying them on your belt is better than in your pockets, because one thing that me and my friend Jay, I've mentioned Jay a couple of times on here, haven't I? But the one thing that we would do, we'd buy maybe a new suit every couple of months, and we'd never really want the suits to wear out very quickly. So because we'd perform a lot of routines, like the rope, you know, my rope routine, I use big rope, and that's all got to go in one pocket. So by the time you know it, your pocket's this fat.
Yeah.
And with a brand new suit, you're gonna trash your suits.
Yeah, you're gonna stretch your pocket. You're gonna rip your pocket if you think. Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah.
I mean, it stops me doing a lot of things. I mean, Harry Robson's really well known for Ring on Shoelace, and because I must have, I don't know, I've easily got 50, 60 suits.
Really? Yeah.
Easily.
It's a lot of suits.
So having to put stuff in like that, I mean, topics and things like that you put in each one. I know you can have them removable, but I mean, if I was to get it done, I'd want it for every suit, and then I can so I'm not having to spend a lot of time swapping suits over.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
I'm interested. In fact, to tell you what, is there an effect that you'd love to do, but you just can't justify either the alterations in clothing or the pocket space? I wonder if people.
What about you? Can you think of anything?
The ring to shoelace.
Ring to shoelace.
Yeah, just the alteration. The
alteration is pretty. With that. Yeah. Well, even the alteration of a shoot from your breast pocket into your jacket pocket, or down here, or I mean, there is an amazing routine, and I made one up, but I foolishly made it with an old suit. And it's basically where you vanish 3 coins one at a time. Yeah. And you hear where they appear. You hear like this ching. Yeah. And the effect ultimately is nobody knows where they're going.
All right. Okay.
But you hear it going ching, but you know it's coming from you somewhere. Yeah. And it's 3 signed coins. And anyway, at the end of it, your hand is totally empty. You vanish them all one by one. Your hand's empty. You go into your pocket and you pull out a glass. And inside the glass are the 3 coins.
That's nice.
And it's really nice. And it's my grandma honestly made it up for me. And what it was a shoot that went into your breast pocket. Yeah. And runs around your back. All right. And goes into this pocket here.
My God.
So all you're actually doing is you do a fake transfer 3 coins, but you just finger clip 1 coin. Yeah. And you roll up your sleeve, and as you roll up your sleeve, you just drop that in your pocket here as that goes up. And then you vanish it. And you can feel it traveling around your back, and you know when it's going to land. Then you hear it. Yeah. So it's like that. Well, I mean, you can perform it where you take the glass out and do it one by one, or however you want. Yeah. You know. But yeah, that's one thing. But I would love to make it back up again. Yeah. But there aren't many environments that you can perform it.
No, and I mean for the closer. I mean, people when I go out and people say, can you hear that noise? And can you hear? 9 times out of 10, you can't hear yourself talking. The mind doing anything else.
It's good for like parlor shows and things like that, but is ultimately the effect worth it?
Yeah.
Possibly not.
I'll tell you what I have noticed, my voice, because I've not done anything really, and now I'm doing the Zoom shows, and I obviously like this is sort of just me being what I perceive to be normal. But when you perform, you're obviously up and about. Even though it's via Zoom, I still find myself projecting.
Okay. What do you find it's hurting your throat?
I'm just
it's like the weakness of the voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over time we build up the strength of our voices. But when we went out and we did the latest Things to Can trailer and I was performing for people, not the one you've seen, we've done another one since then. And my throat was absolutely knackered after 2 performances. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, if you watch the trailer, there's a bit where I say cards. I don't know if you spotted it, and I sound like Darth Vader. The voice, and I'm like, oh. So yeah.
So if you do,
Gideon says so. Basically, it's a pouch on a belt. It is. Gideon.
With obviously variations and stuff like that.
Or just a topic to act like a bag.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. We could create the kangaroo, which would be like just a pouch in front of you.
I think it already exists.
Really?
No. Sorry. But
gullible.
But I bet it does. Well, it does. Of course, it does. It already exists for the cups and balls street busking.
Well, yeah.
Cups and balls routine. People put their props in there. You know. So yeah.
Do you have techniques for warming up your voice? Not really. It's something that
I do.
do you really?
Yeah, when I'm traveling to a gig, I'll sing. I'll
Yeah.
play my music and I'll sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I do that, but I
Yeah.
don't do it intentionally for.
Right. I do it like it was Romany, Diva of Magic,
Right.
who told me about that years ago, and it really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you find that when you come out of your gig, keep on singing while you're traveling home, and your voice doesn't wear out. You can go and perform the next day, and you'll be absolutely.
Oh right.
fine.
Okay.
So honestly, singing, like not wailing it out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but just singing along to songs and just keeping your throat moving.
Yeah.
And talking and keeping it warm.
So you're not doing like a Lemmy impression where you're like, ah,
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pick your music wisely.
Any recommendations for
Sepultura.
songs? Sepultura.
Pantera, Metallica, Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
I've got another 6 story, but we've got Wayne waiting in the background.
Yeah. Well, Steve's just said he's soft spoken and he's tried different routines. Yeah, singing might help. I do. What was the Sanderson's throat mixture? I've been told about Sanderson's a few times.
Yeah.
It's not very nice. I have tried it, but it does really work. It sort of coats your throat.
And there are actually lozenges invented for vocal performers.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called, but I know Equity. If anybody's in Equity in their magazines, if you read them, they advertise them all the time.
Yeah.
But they also write about them and talk about them. Actors who I know who have done big like runs of shows swear by them. You know, they're called something like Vokies or something like that. I never swore them, I think.
I'm sure you did in some language. We'll get complaints.
Yeah, probably. But I don't know what they're called. Throaties or something.
Throaties does sound familiar.
Throaties,
Yeah.
And they're like a sweet that you can have. But I think that's more if you've performed. You know, you can. If you are softly spoken, speak up.
Yeah.
No, protect your voice if you're naturally soft.
Yeah, the trick is not to shout. Try not to shout, but just try to obviously imagine when Mark was on, he was talking about lines, but imagine talking to somebody at the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And that will help you rather than trying to actually shout all the time.
And talk from your diaphragm rather than, you know, because if you talk from your diaphragm, you can actually talk really loud.
Yeah.
You can talk almost as loud as if you're shouting.
Yeah.
If you learn how to talk from your diaphragm. Yeah.
Without
and
straining.
you kick out a lot more bass as well.
Yeah.
So you can really send your voice if you just talk with your diaphragm, basically. You know, singers obviously they sing with the diaphragm rather than, you know, trying to wail out something from the throat and you start to sound horrible. Or you can protect your throat big time just by talking from your diaphragm, but it takes a lot of practice. That's the other thing.
Yeah. So I think we should introduce our guest.
I reckon we should.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Difflam spray.
Yeah.
For removing any pain and taking away any inflammation. Yeah. Yeah, because it almost acts like a steroid, doesn't it? Difflam. That's a good idea, that. You know, so should we bring our guest on?
Yeah, I mean, what can we say about Wayne?
Well, I say before we bring him on, please do us a big favour and hit share. Hit share if we can get these views up. We should say it like that. If we can get these views up, we'll bring him on.
Yeah.
We're going to keep him standing there. It'll be like midnight tonight. Come on, we need over 6 viewers for this.
And Paul's just arrived. Paul, I did mention you earlier on. He's on its way, I promise. We've just had an issue with the delivery. It got stuck at customs, Paul, so it's with you. You'll have it for the end of the week. I'll chuck you something else in.
Yeah. Well, I had a chat with Paul earlier on.
All right. Okay.
But for some reason, I thought we had more in, but
no,
as he says. But they're going to be arriving over the next couple of days, aren't they? So
So
okay, our guest is, I've already said his name. It's Wayne Goodman.
Yeah. Excellent magician.
He is
funny.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah. There's not much he's not done really.
No. He over the years, I've performed lots of shows with Wayne.
Yeah.
All over the UK, all over like mainlands of Spain. I've genuinely seen him perform comedy magic shows. I've seen him perform. Everything that I've seen him perform is comedy-based stuff.
Yeah.
And hypnosis. He's actually been a hypnotist. I don't know if he still does hypnosis. We'll have a little chat with him in a bit. But yeah, he was brilliant. Very, very funny.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you much more about it.
Did he hypnotise you?
He did hypnotise me.
All right. What did you do?
Nothing. I didn't do anything.
Such a liar. We'll get Wayne to tell me.
No, we won't.
Yeah, we will.
Before we bring him on, we're going to bring in Wayne if he's still there.
He's fallen asleep.
Wayne's fell asleep. We're going to play one of his little effects. Let's have a little look. Before we bring Wayne Goodman on, this is Wayne in action.
No, okay, fair enough. I just thought I'd ask. Look, all these cards, this is a special new technique I've come up with for marking cards. So every single card is marked on the back with its own unique design, so I know which card is which. For instance, if I go through like this, I can see that one's the 6 of hearts. If we go through to here, that one's the King of clubs. We can go right down to the bottom, we can have the 7 of diamonds, the 8 of clubs, the 9 of diamonds, the Ace of hearts, the 6 of clubs, the 7 of spades. Every single card. So do me a favour, as I go through, just touch any single card you like, any one at all. That one there? Now I'm going to show you where the marks are on the back, okay, but to begin with you probably won't be able to see them. They're quite well hidden, and if you don't know what you're looking for, it is quite difficult to get. But I'm going to let you see them. So if you open your hand flat for me, I'm going to place the card here. All you have to do is believe. Once you believe, anything is possible. So if I just turn the card over like that, it now says the King of Hearts. But you also need to see here and here, which is why if I give them a little shake like so, every single card now, every single card, all the way through the pack, every single card now has has the name of the card written right across the back, and that is marked.
Yeah, hey, how good is that?
That was really good. Sorry, I was captivated watching. So yeah, so let's have a virtual round of applause. And let's all welcome the fabulous
Wayne Goodman. Hello.
There he is.
Hey Wayne, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, keeping well. You're looking well.
Keeping. I'm wearing black. It hides everything.
Oh, you look fab.
Makes me look slim. I won't turn that one. I'll just keep it straight on to the camera. I was really enjoying listening to your talk and stuff, and just a couple of quick things to add to what you were saying before you brought me on. Pocket space for me, I carry way too much stuff on me when I'm working. So for me, pocket space is, I call it real estate, and it's really valuable. But over the years, I've come up with a couple of things, and I wish I could get these produced. This is something I came up with in the early 90s, and what it actually is, if I take the pack out, this is and you can buy them still, but they are really rare. This is a cassette holder for joggers.
Oh, right.
And when you used to have a Walkman, and then you'd have different cassettes to go in the Walkman, you would keep them in this clip that would go on your belt. And I found that you could put a pack of cards in. This one's broken, unfortunately, but a pack of cards would go in there, and a pack of cards would go in there. So when I was doing like Roy Johnson's win-lose deck, where you got 2 decks,
right?
I would every time I did the trick, I'd always go to the same space. I wouldn't go to this pocket. I would always go to the back, because that's where the double pack was. It was really useful for if I wanted to carry like a brainwave or an extra deck around with me. Then this was just broken off completely. Then this was a great way of doing that, and it would just clip on my belt. And the other thing I had was, which you can still get everywhere, is this is a penknife holder for a Swiss Army knife. But it also I cut the top bit off, the flap that goes over and Velcro's on the front, and it's perfect for a thumb tip. So I used this when I used to do David Williamson's salt routine, because it would keep the salt upright and not in my pocket, spilling into my pocket. So when I needed the salt, I could just go in and get it, and I could put it back there afterwards and just leave it there. And it was such a, I mean, they cost about £3, and it literally just goes on your belt. It's all Velcro, and it's black, so nobody can see it either. And it's just a brilliant. I used to have 2 actually, because I had one for my for the salt and one for the bill switch, and I could just go to wherever I needed to. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw them in because, you know.
No, that's amazing. That's really good.
They're really good. Yeah. One little thing that I've seen for a different prop, I haven't got one on me obviously, but is tennis players have tennis ball holders on their belts.
All right.
Sorry, no, they don't wear belts, do they? But they're
on the shorts.
On the shorts, yeah, and somehow you can put them onto your belt.
Yeah.
So for final loads within a chop cut routine, you could.
Good idea.
It's kind of your kind of idea there of just utilising what you've got?
I've got a mate called Dominic, and he works for a circus. I've got a couple of friends who own a circus near where I live, and they've got this young guy, Dominic, and he's got a very similar thing on his belt because he's a juggler. So he's juggling with 3, and then all of a sudden he's juggling with 4. And you're like, well, where'd the 4th one come from? And that's because he's got 3 of them on the back of his belt, each holding a ball. So he's juggling them, and he's got so adept with it, he can get rid of one of the balls and bring out a different colour. So all of a sudden, he'll go from 3 white balls into a red, yellow, and blue ball, and you barely notice that he's switched one in and switched one out. It's very, very good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, good idea.
Can you know your little cassette holder there?
Yes.
Is there anything written on it with the make of it or anything like that? Just because
not on that one, because this one I made. My friend of mine 3D printed it. I think I put it down there now. A friend of mine 3D printed it, but I've got an original one, a plastic one, and it's got I think it says like music time or something on it. But if you just search for cassette clip, belt clip, they normally come up. But you can get them for about £5-10. I wish I'd bought a load back when they were available, because I would have, But yeah, it's one of those. It's a. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll post you a link, and you can post it up. I've still got the one I had originally when I used to jog.
I think for the younger ones, we might have to explain what a cassette is,
or even what jogging is.
Yeah.
It's not like dogging. Yeah, they were great though, and I mean I remember when I bought mine, they were so readily available, and now obviously nobody has cassettes anymore. Everything's on your iPhone, your iPad, but it was great, and you get the ones that go on your arms for your phone to go into for the joggers and that, so they don't need the clips on the belt. But if you can get them, it's really useful, especially like I say, if you're doing a trick that needs. I now use my pink one for like just an extra couple of decks if I want to do, like I do Chris Congreve's roll, and that goes in there nicely with a spare deck of cards as well, and it's not taking up any space in my pockets, and it's like I call it my utility belt. And with the thumb tips as well, it's just it means I'm not fumbling looking for the thumb tip because it's falling between the pack of cards and the sponge ball. I can go straight to it and ditch it straight away as well.
Yeah, it is, and it's amazing how heavy your jacket gets.
Oh yeah,
when you're performing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and when you get out of a gig and you actually take your jacket off to hang it on your car or seat or whatever you put it.
Well, that's my daily exercise. That is putting my jacket on. it's like carrying a full squaddy's kilt on your back, isn't it? But if it's what you need to do, then it's what you need to do. Something I thought about for you, Joelle, as well. These are really good if you can find these. This is a corporate office drinks mat.
Right.
And so it's what they use in offices to put on the table, and they put the drinks on top of the table. Well, I got a load of these, and I'll send you one, Joelle, for you. I'll send you both one. They're plastic, they're silicone, they're great. But if you're working like in pubs or whatever, or even on the street, and you're doing a chop cup, then this stops anything getting damaged from drinks on the table. And it just sits perfectly on it like so. So it just goes there. It also dampens a little bit of the noise. So if you're working on a surface that might make a bit of a thud, then that will dampen the noise down. And it's really, I've used these for ages. You can screw it up and put it in your pocket, and as soon as you bring it out, it goes flat again. And I've used it on people's hands as well. So place it on your hand there for me. That goes on top, and they don't even feel the ball has fallen down now or whatever. It's just a really nice little extra thing you can do that creates a bit more for the atmosphere. This is Joel's chop cup as well.
Nice
little plug for you there, Joel.
Thank you. I don't sell them anymore. You can't get them.
One other thing, I'll just say this in here as well. One other thing I do for the pocket space is I used to use the ticket pocket. You mentioned that as well earlier.
Yeah.
I used to use that just for my business cards. But because I work at a lot of places like Frankie and Benny's where there are children, I had an ID card made up so that it kind of says who I am. And it says Wayne Goodman Magician, and I wear it. First of all, if anybody comes in, they instantly see that I'm a member of staff because I'm wearing a name badge. And then when they come over, it says that I'm the magician, I'm working here. But on the back, I've got this poucher. On the back, it holds all my business cards. So now when I'm talking to people, I can take out a business card and throw them around the table and do what I need to. And I'm not fumbling in pockets looking for them. And it's also got, I always got a bit worried because you work in Frankie and Benny's, you get a bunch of kids coming about 12, 13. They're sitting on their own. I don't want mum or dad to walk in and see me talking to them and think I shouldn't be there. Then it's never happened. Everyone kind of knows that I'm the magician. So as soon as anyone comes in, I've got them laughing and cheering and high-fiving and whatnot, so people know anyway. But it just adds a bit, I think, a bit more professionalism when you're working in a venue like that. I don't wear it when I'm doing weddings. It's for when I'm out in Civvy Street doing the stuff for the like the restaurants. But yeah, and it takes a bit of my space so I can carry something else on me as well.
Yeah, good pocket space idea. Yeah. I'll often carry my business cards in this pocket, like where you put your Sharpie But yeah, keeping that free to put something else in there is good. Yeah, it's a great idea.
I have a beautiful line for giving out my business cards. Shall I share it?
Of course. Yeah.
This is. I've never shared this with anybody. This is something that I do every table I go to, and it guarantees. Sometimes it doesn't get a laugh because they don't get it, and then I've had people come to me after and go, "That was hilarious," but it's my favourite line. And I go at the end of my routine. I count how many people are around the table. So say it's like 8. I take out 8 business cards and I start dealing them onto the table. So with some cards. So imagine these are my business cards. So I go, if you're having any events or functions or birthdays, and then I say, or if you're lonely, and I drop the last one down as I go, or if you're lonely, my number's on the card. And if I've had somebody I've had a bit of banter with, like a bloke, I'll do it to him, and then I'll go, yeah, you're lonely. Or I tend not to do gags. If there's like a pretty girl on the table, I don't do the chat up lines. I think it's a bit cringy and a bit creepy actually. I was at a wedding recently, last year actually, and there was a table. There were all girls, and apart from one, they were all like 18 to 25 kind of age range, and they were all beautiful, stunning, beautiful. And I thought if I do any kind of like, oh, you look good in 3D. That's my room number. You know, it's just a bit cringy and a bit creepy because I'm 45 next week. You know, or Friday. I'm 45 on Friday. I did all those jokes on the other woman on the table, who was the great grandma. She was like 90. And I did them to her, and it got a much bigger laugh. And it was a lovely line. She looked at me and she went, "Have I met you before?" And I went, "Tinder." And because she hadn't got a clue what Tinder was, but everybody else on the table started cracking up laughing. And because they were the first table I'd gone to, it instantly told the whole room who I was. You know, all of a sudden it's, this guy's a funny guy. You know, I'm funny looking, but now I'm funny as well. And it was just, but if I'd done that to one of the girls, it would have been a bit like, I wouldn't have felt. It might have got a laugh, it might not. I would have felt, I'm unsettled by it. So rather, I did. It's the old woman, got a big laugh. She loved it as well. Afterwards, she was laughing her head off and kept calling me a toy boy and stuff. Hopefully, she's written me into the will. It's just that's the kind of like the comedy I go for, and that's what I want to. I want it to make it complement what I'm doing rather than push away from what I'm doing. So it was just a nice gag for the right occasion. I've completely gone off tangent now. Should we get back on tangent?
No, it's fine. It's all right.
So what have you been up to during lockdown, Wayne? It seems like as long as I've known you, you've always created and invented lots of your own magic, stage routines, close-up. Have you been inventing much during lockdown?
With the exception of a few routines that I do, everything I do is my own. There are a couple of tricks. If I do somebody else's trick, so your chop cup, for instance, if I'm doing that, that's a real badge of honour. That's a real thing because I very rarely do other people's material. Chris Congre's roll is one of the best card prediction tricks I've ever seen, and it really suits me. I do a lot of stuff by Brian Caswell. He does some great, so I love all of his like trilogy and all that, and I use not all in the same show, but I'll do one of his tricks in almost every show. But everything else I do is my own. I like it that way. I like and to be honest with you, there's a growing trend in magicians over the last, I'd say, 20 years. We've most magicians have stepped back from making stuff their own. It's all now just copy the routine that you get on the video and learn it word for word. You don't have to learn any pasta because we'll give you all the pasta. And it's a little bit sad, really. So for me, if I'm going to do a trick, I'm going to make it my own version of that trick. And if I invent something, then I can do that from scratch. I can build it from nothing. And that's really important to me. I like to put a lot of comedy into what I'm doing. With I don't know if you remember in Spain, but my stand-up show was essentially a stand-up comedy act with magic. It wasn't a magic show with comedy. There was a lot of magic in it, but there must have been like 20 gags for every trick.
What I was meaning by this was you had a gun routine. Do you still perform that?
Well, actually, I've just retired it. This isn't on the thing actually because I just found the booklet. It's not. I haven't released it yet, but I'm actually going to be releasing it as a book.
Right.
and I'm just going to be a complete hypocrite to what I've just said because I give you the full script and everything. but that's because the script for this trick, the script is quite important. It details how everything goes. But yeah, this I haven't really. I've finished it now. This is a proof copy. But yeah, the gun trick it was just comedy from. I would put it on a parallel with like the Vanishing Bandana or the Lee Evans routine where he's learning comedy. It's a comedy routine based around something else. This is about me finding a card. It's a 10-second trick wrapped up in a 20-minute presentation.
Right.
The finale is absolutely massive, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And from minimal props, you've got a big routine with loads of comedy.
The spectators only see the pack of cards and the gun. They don't realise there's anything else in play, and a pen, which essentially is all I've got. They don't know about the gun. If you like, I'll send you a link. It's not a great recording, but I'll send you a link that you can put up on the Real Workers page of me performing it at Smoke and Mirrors in Bristol. And it was shot with a GoPro above. It's on my YouTube. And it highlights the routine. It's a complete, but there's a lot going on that the spectators don't see. The force of the card is done. It's only a cross-cut force, but it's done in a very special way. And the spectators swear they see the whole card and they don't. And then I shoot them and it ends up with a massive hole through the card that is completely fresh because I put my finger in it and I get all charcoal around my finger where I put my finger through the hole of in the card. And yeah, it's just a fantastic routine. My cigarette in shirt was another one. It's a 3-minute trick, but it would last 15-20 minutes. I would smoke a cigarette on stage. I don't smoke, but I would smoke a cigarette on stage for the whole routine, telling like 50 jokes that were all related, but not related. So I'll do the whole "please pull me over" routine, all the classics. And then finally, when the cigarette was small enough, it would go into the shirt, then it would vanish, then I'd give the shirt back. But from start to end, it was just joke, to the point where people even wondered if I was going to do anything with the shirt. Because in Spain, I would take someone's shirt off them, not a jacket. I'll take their shirt off them. So I've got a bloke sat here by the side of the stage with no shirt on. I've got his shirt draped over my hand, and I'm stood there smoking a cigarette. And it's sort of like, is this bloke even going to do anything, or is he just telling jokes? A lot of people would think, oh, he's just going to give the shirt back and go, I'm only joking, mate, and do that. But actually, there was a lot more involved in that and a lot more going on again.
The longer the waiting, they're begging you to do something then, aren't they? They're almost like, go on, do it.
Get to the end.
I remember watching Gazzo and being in awe of the way that he would really drag out that last 10-15 minutes before he actually finished the routine. And I was talking to somebody about it. It might be Matt Edwards, maybe, I don't know, or Rodney or somebody, but I was talking to somebody about it, and they said, that's what you do with a cigarette and shirt. It's amazing to think you can get this amount of time with just jokes, and still be a massively great magical routine. But for me, comedy is really, really important. For me, comedy is the bedrock on what I build everything. I've got a few comedy things here, and I don't really like comedy props. There's a couple that I like, but I'm not into comedy props. But I do have a couple that I really love. One that I use at every event. I don't have this here actually. It might be in my other jacket. I have a sponge letter B, and when I'm working outside at weddings and stuff, I'll reach up behind somebody and go, oh, careful, you've got a B on you, and then just put it in my pocket and carry on like nothing's happened. And that's much better. And that's the kind of comedy I like. I don't want it to be really obvious, but you're going to get a joke. Another one that I do is I say, oh, that was great, but that's a little greater. It's an old joke, but it does get a big laugh. Now, I use this for my mystery box, and I'll have a folded up card in here, and I'll knock it out, and it's their signed cards. That's on the table all the time, so it's also got a magical purpose as well. This is something silly I used to do in my cabaret show. If somebody came up on stage to have a photograph with, after the trick, I'll just go, oh, you want to have a photograph? Oh, okay. Like, they've not said anything. I'm saying this. And they go, oh, I've got to protect my online persona because, you hear a lot about people. So I've got these. And then I'd have a photograph taken like that. And it's just ridiculous. And you can see through them. And I would say to people, "Oh, I wear these when I'm driving. So if I'm speeding and they take my speed camera, they can't prove it was me driving the car." Which again, so I sell these when I do lectures and stuff. That's a great prop. And then I've got stuff like this, which is think you can't be fooled, but actually it says you twice. Yeah. So think you can't be fooled.
It says think you can't be fooled, and it says you just have. If you look, it says you.
Oh,
you,
yeah, okay, cool. Right, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, I had these made up on cards, and I've got this as well. This is one of my ones, actually. This is, I say, oh, this is my, I can't remember off the top of my head how I bring this out, but if I'm getting something else, I'll bring this out and go, oh, this is my Scouse eye test. And if I can get with the light.
Oh, you just...
A. And then I say, oh, my mate's Geordie. So it's Y-I. So again, it's stupid, but it's what we call a throwaway. It gets a quick laugh, and you soon. I got a reputation for being very quick-witted, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Wayne's very, very good at the ad libs," and I am. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. I do like the ad libs, and I love ad libbing. However, a lot of my ad libs aren't ad libs.
No.
They're prepared jokes. I have a lovely joke that nobody else can do unless they're called Wayne. I found a lot of the time people will go, "No way," and I go, "No, not no way. It's Wayne." Now, it's completely stupid. Gets a big laugh because it's right at the moment. I was working at a gig and they booked two magicians, me and another guy, through an agency, and he came over to my table and his name was John. And I'm doing some magic, and this woman goes, "No way!" And I went, "No, it's Wayne." And the whole table just erupted into laughter. And like 20 minutes later, I'm walking past the table, and I hear this bloke on John's table go, "No way!" And he goes, "No, it's John." And he got nothing. Afterwards, he came up to me and he went, "How come you got a big laugh with that 'No, it's Wayne' line?" I went, "I don't know, mate. It must be the way I told it." I just couldn't tell him. I'm sure he was driving home and just went, "Oh no," but yeah, So that's my own gag. But again, it looks really spontaneous and off the cuff.
Yeah.
But I've just heard it so many times that it's I can make it appear like an ad lib.
Yeah. You've got a joke lined up for the moments when you arrive. We've got a question. I've got a couple of questions. I've got a question for you in a moment.
And so have I.
And so has he. But we've got a question from Gideon Wall, and he's asking, Wayne, what process do you use to start to come up with a joke to fit the effect?
Okay, so first of all, so I talk about this quite a lot in my new book, Maxim's Primer. I talk about putting comedy to magic and stuff. First of all, I start at the base. So I look at the routine and I decide what the presentation is going to be. So, for instance, when I was in Spain, I used to do Casino Royale quite a lot. That's the trick with the giant dollar bills and the casino chips and the deck of cards. And you tell a story, and at the end, the chip is from the casino. The notes add up to the amount that you won, and you turn over your lucky card, and it's the card that they've picked out. And it's by Becker and It's a really great routine, lovely trick, lovely prop. Didn't like their routine so much. It didn't fit with what I wanted to do. So I'd been to Vegas the year before. And so I came up with a story where I was in Vegas with my girlfriend. And so I started with the story, and then I looked at, okay, so this is the story, me and my girlfriend in Vegas. So that automatically opens up a load of, I lost my girlfriend in Vegas, but it was a great game of cards, that kind of thing, Last time I was in Vegas, I broke even because I stole the TV out of the hotel room. So there's automatically a couple of good gags that I can put in it to get the ball rolling. Yeah. And then, but then there's other gags that appear like they're off the cuff kind of gags that I came up with. So at the end, I've won, say, $2,000. So I say, me and my girlfriend had an argument. I stormed off. I walked into this bar. It was really dodgy. The first question in the quiz was, "What are you looking at?" And then I go into the routine of picking the card and doing this game I didn't really understand. I turn the card over on a $5 bet, and I've won $2,000. And I grabbed the money and I ran. I just got out of there. I didn't want to stay there any longer. They might have made a mistake. I got $2,000. I was really happy. I went back to my girlfriend. I apologised for being a bit of an idiot, which then puts all the blame on me, so I'm not sexist anymore. So I apologised to my girlfriend, I didn't tell her I won 2,000. I don't say that. I'd say I apologised to my girl for being an idiot. I told her I'd won 500. Gave her 2. She was happy, and I've got 1,500 in my back pocket extra. So I've got a nice little gag there that I cheated her out of a few $100s as well. But it's all good in the story, and it was a throwaway line that would get a little bit of a laugh, so it stayed in. So I would look at how I could add humorous situations to the story, and then build on that. And if there was a way to twist it so it was a humorous element, like the line about keeping a few extra $100, then that's great. But if I need a bit of comedy at that moment for whatever reason, maybe a bit of misdirection or just to alleviate it a little bit, then I would look at what joke I could put into there. I've got in my room upstairs, I've got my joke file, which you might remember from House of Illusion, which was a big binder, and it's just full of jokes. And whenever I write jokes, I don't tend to use it anymore. It's kind of full, and I don't add to it because I do it all online now in the cloud. But in that, every joke I ever heard or wrote or used went into the joke file, and it got thicker and thicker and thicker over 15 years of working abroad. And it became my go-to book every day. And so whenever I'm looking for a joke, I'll go to the joke file and I'll look through and I'll go, oh yeah, that will fit there and that will fit there. And if I can't find one that will fit, then I'll try and write one myself. But I think if you're going to add comedy to a routine, you've got to start at the bottom, and you've got to add a line. If it works, build on it. So with the cigarette in jacket, for instance, I've got to smoke a cigarette. It's going to take me about 5-7 minutes to smoke a cigarette, 8 minutes to smoke a cigarette. And I'm not smoking it, I'm actually blowing through it, so it inhales, so I didn't want to inhale it. So I blow through it and it lights up to show it's a real cigarette still. And so I thought, well, the great thing to do is I could talk about my day. So I'm smoking a cigarette and I say, oh, I got pulled over on the way here tonight. Policeman pulled me over. He said, do you know how fast you were going? I said, you tell me. You're trying to keep up. Dum-dum-dum.
Yeah.
Then instantly, I'm then onto he said, have we been drinking? I said, well, if we have, mate, you didn't get around it. He said, can you identify yourself? I looked in the mirror. I went, that's me. He said, I'm going to book you. I said, you haven't seen the act yet? So there's bang, 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 4 jokes straight off the bat with no thought. Each one builds on the one before it. And even though they're not that funny in this situation, in that situation, which is completely nonsensical, I've got a bloke's shirt, he's topless, I'm smoking, and it looks like I'm going to burn his shirt. And now I'm doing jokes about being pulled over by the police. You know, and so in that moment, I've got complete control over everything, and they laugh. And then I completely change topics and I go on to the next bit, you know, and then I'm talking about, I can't remember the other jokes I didn't know now. Some of them were quite rude, but in the right situation. But it's sort of, you know, I would do a joke about this. I would do a joke about that. I would do, I like this venue. I really like this venue here. And the next hotel I'm going to is quite rough. They serve broken leg of lamb. You know, I'll do the pub quiz one again. I can never park my car there because there's always 3 ambulances and a police car outside. You know, you build on it again and again and again. So I'd have these like sets of jokes, and all I had to remember was the line in the intro. So I knew that I'd go straight into. So I'd get the guy's shirt. What's your name? Paul. Who's George? Big laugh. And then I would go into the police, and then I would go into the girlfriend jokes. I used to do the old joke about my girlfriend crashed her car. She was driving down the road. She saw a pine tree and she spun to avoid it. And then she saw another pine tree and she spun to avoid it. Another pine tree, another pine tree, another pine tree. And she was spinning so much, she spun out of control. And it turned out to be the air freshener hanging off the rear view mirror. Yeah. And I don't do those jokes anymore. They're a bit too, bit too sexist, really. But at that time in Spain, at that place, that would get a massive laugh. Yeah. And I used to do a lot of self-deprecation humour as well. I was a lot bigger out there as well, a lot fatter. So I'd say things like, this is a nice shirt, it wouldn't fit me. I have to put my belt on with a boomerang. I rock myself to sleep getting up in the morning. I like doing sit-ups because you get to lie down every couple of seconds. So I'd have all these jokes prepared for the right, and if the guy was really skinny, I'd say something like, oh, look at you, you're so skinny, 3 more belly buttons, you'd make a good flute. And so anything I could do to kind of like interact with what's actually happening and make that part of what I was doing would then elevate what I'm doing to a higher level. And people would remember that it was funny and it was entertaining and it was magical rather than just being one or the other, which was really important to me. That's the most important thing.
Sorry, would you say like a lot of your gags then that you would use wouldn't necessarily relate, but because the people knew you were telling jokes, you kind of captivated people so they just want the next joke?
Okay, I have a kind of philosophy on this. Very early in my career, I realised that you can't please everybody all the time. So I gave up when I was working on the ships. I worked on North Sea ferries, which was like the working men's clubs of the sea. They were really, really rough. And I got heckled a lot. And that's where my love of heckling comes from. I've also grown up in a military background. So my dad was in the Navy. I've got family in the military. I do a lot of military shows and I love being heckled. I love it. In the right situations anyway. And I very quickly worked out that I can't please everybody in the audience. I can't do that. So I have a philosophy that when I go out on stage, I'm going to enjoy myself. And if you want to come along with me and enjoy yourself, you'll have a good time. But if you don't want to enjoy yourself with me, then there's nothing I can do for you. I can't, the show isn't about you. I can't focus on you and make you enjoy it. So I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to have a good laugh. I laugh at my own jokes and I have a great time when I'm on stage. And a lot of people afterwards have said to me, wow, you love it up there, don't you? Because they can see I'm loving it and I'm having a great time. And so when I'm up there, once I've got them, once I've captured them, I can go off on any kind of tangent I want, really, because they're interested and they're engaged. I try and keep it as relevant as I can. But if I do, like with the cigarette one, if I can start talking about the police, but even though it's not relevant, it is relevant because I'm still up there, I've got a cigarette, I kind of make a joke about I'm on my fag break, you know, and then I start telling you, I got pulled over on the way tonight. And so it's almost a, let's have a quick story while we're waiting for the next trick to happen. So it is relevant, but it's not relevant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and
it's
like we always say, laughter is contagious. So if you're laughing and you're enjoying it and that sort of thing.
I had somebody ask once, they said, why do you laugh at your own jokes? I said, well, they're funny.
Yeah.
They're funny. I think they're hilarious. I wouldn't tell a joke if it wasn't funny, so I'm going to laugh at them. And I don't corpse it either. If sometimes I'll tell a joke that I've told a million times and it will just tickle me and I'll start laughing. I can't help it. And then people, but people see it's genuine, and then hopefully it encourages them to laugh and join as well. And I tell terrible jokes. I'm proper dad jokes. But I try to make them, you know, people like them because it's like tricks. There's no such thing as a bad trick. There's bad magicians, but there's no bad tricks. And you should be, if you're a good magician, you should be able to pick up any trick and make it great. Yeah. With maybe the exception of the sponge dong. That's the only one I can think of that's not. But yeah, every trick, there's people go, I don't like that trick, it's rubbish. Well, it's rubbish for you maybe, but for somebody else, people always say to me, I don't like sponge balls. When I lecture, they go, oh, I don't like the sponge balls. I love the sponge balls. Yeah. What's more magical than you put something in your hand and the spectator opens their hand, it's there. There's no trick that can beat that. That's proper magic. Yeah. And the comedy should be the same. The comedy should hit. It should make them laugh. It shouldn't be offensive. It shouldn't be derogatory. I don't like stereotypical jokes. I don't do jokes about the Scottish are alcoholics or the Irish are alcoholics or the Scousers are stealers. I don't like those jokes. I don't like them. They're obvious. They're lazy. And I have one joke I used to do for the Scousers, just because in Spain we used to get a lot of Scousers and they would kind of expect it. And Scousers are a bit like Klingons in Star Trek. You have to hit them first and then they respect it. If you don't, then they just attack. And I had one line, because I'd always hear the same thing. They'd go, go on, mate, go on, tell us a Scouse gag. I've heard them all. So I would tell them this joke, and almost every time they go, I've not heard that before. And actually, it's relevant to Star Trek. The joke was, why do you never see Scousers on Star Trek? Because they won't work in the future either. And it was it's a great line, and they would laugh. And then it was the respect was there. I remember walking out on stage at a military gig, and as I walked out, this bloke in the front, he went, "Why don't you F off, you fat C?" He didn't. He actually said the words. And I looked down, and I just went, "Oh, sorry, mate, I don't do requests," and just carried on with the tricks. Yeah. But that was enough. He was happy with that. I hadn't shown fear. I hadn't given in and weak. I hadn't gone, "Oh, don't pick on me." I'd gone, "Sorry, mate, don't do requests," and just carried on with what I'm doing. And afterwards, he was the first one to come and shake my hand. You know, he was up. He was like, "I love that, mate. It was brilliant." You know, you didn't mind me heckling, did you? They
almost have a bit of a test where they go, "This is if he deals with this, then he's all right with me." And So my question was, when you're putting a routine together, do you, like a comedian, almost has a time frame for gags and laughs? So I want to laugh every 30 seconds, every minute. Do you sort of structure it like that?
No, because I would find that quite restrictive.
Yeah.
So what I do is I will put in maybe 4 or 5 jokes to spread throughout the routine, and that would kind of dictate the length of the routine in some ways. If it's a short trick, like the cigarette and jacket, it's a short trick, but it was kind of like dictated it was going to be a longer trick because of the jokes I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And I knew that I could either put in another trick or do a 20-minute routine, and I decided to opt for the 20-minute routine, nice and simple. I had a couple of extra gags in there that for a couple, because it was a stage show, so a couple of props. I would get somebody's lighter, and then I would light the cigarette and then drop the lighter in a bucket full of other bucket lighters, and I go building my collection up. I would always borrow a cigarette so I could say the line, could I borrow a cigarette? It's a bit of a liberty, but I left mine in the machine. And so there would be these little quippy throwaway lines that I could add into it. The kind of routine was dictated by the number of jokes I wanted to do, but it also gives me freedom that if I had a couple of new jokes, I knew that. So say I had the police jokes, the girlfriend jokes, and the work jokes. If I had a couple of new jokes I wanted to try out, I could take out the girlfriend jokes in the middle and try out the new jokes in the middle. And if they didn't hit or didn't resonate or didn't fit, then instantly I could go into the next set of jokes, which I knew would work, and just shorten the act by a couple of minutes. So I always had it's kind of like a rescue line to take me back up to the. So if I'm up here and then these jokes die, boom, straight back up here again, just drop them and work on them again. I never had a kind of like I've got to fill that amount of time. What am I going to do? Just put a load of jokes in. If it works, if the jokes, being a comedy magician is a great thing because you've got 3 routes you can take. You can do, if the magic's not hitting with the people, then you can just do more jokes. And if the jokes aren't hitting with the people, if you're like a holiday park and the comedy's not getting any laughs, then I'll drop a few more of the jokes and I'll do a more straight act with the magic. Ideally, though, I want to go down the middle with the comedy and the magic and let it carry itself through. But there is that nice thing about comedy magic that I can move either side as well.
Yeah, well, you did talk about your sponge balls, and then I know when we were talking previously, you showed us a nice. Oh, look at that! As if it was planned.
I've got everything here. I even got out the marked cards because I don't know if you can actually see it on the video. That's what the cards look like on the marked cards.
Oh right, okay.
So it's like really big and bold.
Yeah.
This is dusting the lecture notes, and you make it yourself. It's very, very simple. It's a great routine. I do love it. But I got them out just to show because you showed the video a minute ago. The sponge ball. I love the sponge ball. I'll show you this. This is a move I came up with quite a while ago. Where's the coin? I came up with it for coin magic, and now I do it with the sponges mostly. But I love coin vanishes. I do the coins across with the shell, and I don't do too much of the hand washing, but I do love the coin vanishes. And so I came up with this move where, actually, the truth of it is I was shown this move. So you take the coin here and you turn it over and you give it a couple of taps and then it's gone. Now, it's a great move. It's beautiful. And Mark Paul showed me that in Hamleys when I was about 16 years old, and he was working in Hamleys. And I was down there on the day trip and he showed me it. And I really liked it, but there was something wrong with it. And what's wrong with it is if you've got a coin, actually, let's say the jumbo coin. If you do it with the jumbo coin, when you're here, then you can see a bit of the coin here. And if you've got somebody sitting over here, they'll see the coin. So the angles aren't great. It's fine if you're doing it to a camera and it's like, it's gone. But also you're left in this position. So what I'm doing now is it kicks out the bottom. As I tap, the coin goes round and into like almost a thumb palm. And then the coin is gone. But that's done underneath. So it's here and then it's gone. And so I came up with this. It's almost the same, but it's different, but it looks as visual, I think. But you've got the coin here, and then you come here like so, and now the coin has vanished. And then it's back over here again. So I don't know how that looks because I couldn't see it on the camera. Hopefully that looks all right. If I look at the big coin, so it's here, and then it's gone, and it's not there, and then it's back. So what I'm doing here is I close my hand, as I turn it over, I kick the coin out the bottom,
Okay.
And then as I tap, my pinky comes under and grabs the coin and takes it over to here. So as I turn over my hand, it's now blocked. So even if someone's sitting here or here, they can't see it because it's right behind my fist.
Yeah.
So when you're here, it goes to here, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
What a really nice move with that I came up with. If I want to switch a small coin to a big coin, so I'll have this under my belt or wherever I need it. So I'm doing the tricks with I'm using a Chinese coin for this. Actually, I'll go back to the silver coin because I'm wearing black t-shirt. You won't be able to see it so well. I would bring this coin into play after I've done some manipulations with this. I'd bring this coin into play, and then I would show this hand empty as I place the coin in my fingertips. And then instantly I'd come over here and steal the other coin as I show this hand empty, and then bring it up and do the switch. So now the coin has changed from one coin to another. And it's a really nice false transfer. Not false transfer, but transfer. So the coin is here, you see both hands empty, and there's no way the coins are going to touch and talk. And you just change the coin. And then I was doing sponge balls one day, and in the restaurant, and I had the person here holding their hand out. And so I put the sponge ball in my hand, put this one into their hand, this one disappears, and now it's over here. And I suddenly thought I'd give it a try, I'd give it a whirl. So I said to the person, would you put the sponge ball into my hand for me? So they did. And I take it and turn my hand over. Oh, sorry, let me just do that again. So it's here. So I take it here, and then I pick up this coin, this ball, and put it to their hand. And now this one's gone. And in their mind, my hands never went near each other. They put the ball into this hand. I squeeze it and turn it over. As I tap here, my hands do come over, but that moment will be lost on the spectator. So when I'm here, and then instantly I'm picking up this ball, my hand looks empty, but I've got the ball here. It's picking up this one and putting it into their hand. And at no point have I been near this hand or in their memory. I never went here. And so it's a super clean and super lovely. This gets one of the biggest reactions ever.
That distance really sells it.
I'm going to be doing this as a download. I'm going to film it hopefully over the next few months, and this is going to be done as a download. But yeah, I don't mind sharing it with you guys and everyone who's watching tonight. It's well worth the effort. It does take a bit of it takes a bit of practice to get that to go over.
Yeah.
And I find a bit of a turn helps as well. So when I'm here, I'll turn my body just briefly, and then it's gone. And then as I turn back, as my hand comes back, my finger extends. My little finger, my pinky and my ring finger extend, and it puts the ball back into the palm of this hand as I turn to show this hand empty. So it's gone from here and here, and it's back here. Oh, thank you, Gideon. That's really lovely to say. I've got my computer here so I can see the comments. Thank you. That's really kind.
It is. It's very clean.
It's got like
there isn't a secret section on my website. There isn't a secret section. Everything's open on the website. Yeah, that's another comment that's come up. Can I show you a quick idea I've been playing with? Because we were talking earlier on, Joe, about ideas and stuff.
Would you like a full screen?
Yeah, go on. You can if you want to. This is just a 10-second thing. Because I've been doing a lot of Zoom shows and Facebook Live shows over the lockdown, trying to do stuff that's really visual, obviously, come up with more and more material. And this is something maybe this is done before, I don't know, but this is something I've come up with that I really, really like. This is a jumbo coin or a big coin in a, let me just open it up. It's in a little glass pouch, coin pouch. So it's two bits of plastic that go together, and then it's like a coin protector for collecting coins. I had a few of these, and it's got a big coin inside it. So this is something I just put together. So if you take the coin here, if you just give it a little squeeze, you can make the coin vanish whilst inside the plastic container. Or likewise, I could have a coin there, and I could take the plastic container and then have the coin reappear safe and sound back inside. Or if I wanted to, I could take the gold coin, just give it a rub, and it turns to a silver coin, or whatever I wanted to.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing, I'm not going to teach people how to suck eggs, but I've got two, obviously, and I'm just doing a coin change. But because it's in a plastic box, it kind of more impossible because they don't think you'd have, you do. So there's your coin, and it could be signed, and then just give it a little rub, and now your coin is completely vanished.
Yeah. Do you know what the box is cool?
Go on.
I've got an idea, right? Imagine, right, you would do the change, so like you've got a coin in it, then it looks like it's vanished, and do a couple of moves. You could almost kind of act like you're taking the coin out and throwing it back in, or
Yeah.
something like that. But a nice little idea would be do the change so it looks like it vanishes again within the routine. Then you open up that clear thing, and inside there is like an only coin.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be really good.
That
Yeah,
kind of
change the book.
offers
It was just something I was throwing around, just trying out the idea. Just it worked, it resonated. It was a nice idea. But yeah,
When you first showed it, I thought it looked very similar. Do you remember the crystal boxes that you used to get where you put the elastic bands around?
Oh yeah.
And you'd get the coin and you'd squeeze it and it'd drop out.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's a nice idea.
Yeah, you could kind of combine that.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a nice idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, you could sneak the back off it as well. So it looks like you've got it all on one. So it looks like it's encased, but actually sneak the back off. Then you could almost kind of make it vanish like with a snap. Yeah.
It wouldn't be that hard then just to have the other half here and to place it down. It's back on top now, and they can hand it out for examination.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Brilliant.
I like that idea as well.
That'll be on the download at the end of the month.
Give me a credit, Wayne. I don't mind.
Shall we do the joke book?
Oh yeah.
Just to really talk about comedy. So I've got 6 joke books. I had a real problem when I was first getting into magic that somebody told me to get this joke book because they knew I did a lot of jokes, and it was called the Working Magician's Gag Book or something like that. And the first joke in the book was, "What's brown and sits on a piano stool? Beethoven's Last Movement." And I looked at that joke and I thought, I cannot imagine any time I would ever use that joke. It was awful. And the whole book was just full of rubbish like that.
Yeah.
So I put together my first one, which I think I've got here, the Comedy Magician's Joke File.
When I bought one when you first released it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
So this is the only one I did. I've done 6 of these, and this is the only one I did where I did chapters in it. So they're all put into chapters. After that, I changed it, and they just became a joke book full of just literally just one-liners. And there's 6 of them, and there's approximately 180 jokes in each book. 180, but they're good quality one-liners. They're good gags. They're not. And some of them are really old, but they're still funny. So here's one on boxing. So I could do boxing. It's a strange world. I almost had a psychic girlfriend once, but she left me before we met. They're all. Some of them don't read that funny, but in the right situation where you would use them, they're brilliant. So they're £10 each. There's 6 of them. And for the real workers, what I'm doing is everything's going to be a download. It will be sent straight to your email as a PDF, not as a physical copy. That way anybody in the world can access them immediately. But there's 6 of them. They're £10 each. Or if you want all 6, then I'll do it at half price. So there'll be £30 for all 6 of them, which is, yeah. So there we go. Each book, £10 each, but 30.
I'm going to leave that there, Wayne, just to hide us for a little bit.
Yeah, I can have a quick drink now. Hold on, have a quick drink.
I'll hide you.
But it's great having an arsenal of jokes that you've got. I mean, I must. We were talking earlier, and you said I don't really do jokes, and I have. Every time I hear a joke, it gets stored, and even if I use part of it, just. I was once out, and there was, when you get that awkward guy, and I said, "What do you do for a living?" So I'm trying to build bridges. What do you do for a living? What do you do? And he went, "I'm an astronaut." And I went, "I don't think that's what they meant by space cadet, buddy." And you know what I mean? So having them just in the back of your head, really, it takes it from just a regular routine to a comedy to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. With one effect, so you constantly,
I found when we were working around the cabaret circuit, like particularly around Spain, I found then that I was more of like a gag performer,
But even look at Darren Brown. You wouldn't say Darren Brown is a joke teller, and yet when you watch him, especially live, his shows are hilarious.
Yeah,
and so I think there are ways to introduce humour and comedy even if it's just for a moment of levity, just to break up the seriousness of what you're doing, then I think, you know, if you're not naturally funny, if you're not a great joke teller, then do what you know. But there are ways to introduce humour into everything that you're doing, and I think that makes it more entertaining for the people. Unless you're doing like a death seance or something like that, where it's not appropriate, then I think, you know, you can have a joke or two, even if you're not a comedy performer.
Yeah. Mind you, talking of that, with Darren Brown, did you? I think it was maybe the first or the second special he did. He did the thing with the lady where she picked the people that were alive and dead.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end, he went, "Oh, that's out of this world."
Right.
And as a magician, I went, "Oh, that's good. I like that."
It's one of my favourite in-joke lines of ever. That was just such a but it goes whoosh straight over the spectator's head, straight over. 99% of the people watching that would not have got that. They would just thought he was saying it's amazing. And then for the magicians, it's that's out of this world.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a lie. It's telling you it's a statement. It's that's out of this world. Hope you enjoyed it. You know.
I just want to go back over your package deal, if that's all right. So you've got 6 joke books.
Yes.
Within the joke books, you've got a total of 6. They're £10 each, or you can get all 3.
All 6
for £30.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if people want to get these and you want to take advantage of it, your email address is right there. We're going to leave that on the screen for quite a lot of this. In fact, to tell you what we're going to do, I'm going to make this so it scrolls across the bottom, so it's always on display. We should have a little chat about the packages that you put together.
Yeah, could we just say, before anybody rushes to send me the money for that, if they want to get it, just hang on, because I've got other packages coming up in a minute, and I'm going to do a complete package if they want to buy everything. So they're going to save even more money if they decide to go for the main package. Then they're going to get even more money off that as well. So, you know, if you just want the joke books, then that's a great deal. You're getting 50% off. But if you want the other stuff, it's worth waiting a little bit longer, and then we can just go. We could go through them all now if you wanted to.
Yeah. Let's.
Well, just before we do, we've had a quick question from Paul Sylvester. Do you think anybody can be funny?
Well, look at Joel. I mean. Sorry, do you want some cream for that, Burn? Paul, it's a great question. Paul, it's a great question. It really, really is. Yes, with the exception of one person, my brother, who is completely incapable of being funny. He's an idiot. He won't be watching this. I think everybody's got it in them to be funny. And you know what? I'm not one of these performers. First of all, I know I come across. It's very easy in my new book, Maxims Primer. I talk about confidence. And it's very easy for someone who has lots of confidence to talk about confidence. It's very easy for somebody who's very rich to talk about saving money to buy something new. Yeah, it's all right for someone who's already beautiful to talk about, oh, well, I can, you know, just put on new clothes and it suits me. You know, Cameron Diaz looks great. She could wear rags and she'd look beautiful. So it's very, very easy for people to do that when they have it. And I am exceptionally confident. I have a lot of confidence. I know that in most things anyway. And so it's very easy for me to talk about confidence and talk about me being, I don't know everything. I'm not one of these people who's really arrogant with what I do. I do know what I'm talking about because I've been doing it for 32 years, but I'm still learning every single day. So I don't pretend to be an expert on everything because I'm not. But I know how to tell a joke. I know how to be funny. And I know I am funny when I need to be, especially. And I'm very lucky with that. But from somebody who maybe is a little bit more insecure, or maybe not insecure, but maybe doesn't have the same confidence levels, or who's just starting out, then I'm a big Star Wars fan. And it was Yoda who said, failure is the best teacher. And so when I first started doing shows and performing, I would try every joke I could do, and I would die on my backside more than not. And it didn't take me long, probably about 5 minutes, to realise I liked it when people laughed, and I didn't like it when they didn't laugh. And so very quickly, I would remember the jokes that got the laughs and ditch the rest, and always go for the home run. always hit the jokes. I don't want a mediocre laugh, I want a big laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that's the first thing. So if you're worried that maybe you're not as funny as you should be, or you're not as funny as the next guy, well, forget the next guy. Be yourself is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And look at ways, introduce comedy as a extra, not as a focus. So add a couple of jokes. If they get a laugh, brilliant. You've taken a first amazing step. If they don't get a laugh, then don't worry about it. You've given it a try. Go to the next table, do the next show, and drop that bit out. And then maybe do some more research, do some writing, and maybe try again. I think everyone can be funny, but you have to be funny in a way that suits your personality. I'm very loud. I'm very confident. I'm very brash. When I'm on stage or I'm in a restaurant, people know who I am. I make sure of that. I'm very, very loud, and I'm very, not over loud, but people know that I'm there and they know what I'm doing. And when I'm on stage, people watch me because I have a very commanding stage presence that I've had to work on. But yeah. And so I go up on stage and I'm boom, 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 boom. Think Dara O'Brien. When Dara O'Brien speaks, everybody listens because he's commanding and he has great stage presence. But it takes practice to get to that as well. And it does take practice. And it takes building up and the confidence comes with experience. So try a couple of jokes. If they work, build on it. If they don't work, change them and try again. And never be afraid to people who say, oh yeah, I've never had an issue with that. I just got straight, boom, done it. Yeah, I'm brilliant. I just did that straight away. They're lying. They're lying. They can't always be the best. And I've walked out on stage and died on my backside a million times. But every time I die, I do the most important thing. I learn from it. I adapt, I change, and I move forward. Yeah. So it won't happen again. So if I go out on stage and that didn't work, I don't just drop it and go, I'll get something else. Why didn't it work? I analyze it. I look at it. Right, I can change it. Let's try it this way this time. And I do it again. And I do it again and again and again until it works. And that's, So and comedy's just the same.
That's where you get your confidence in the material so you can go out there and be that strong character.
I know when I walk on stage, especially the military gigs, they're terrifying, the military gigs. It's really funny. I said to my mum, I got booked. Do you know Paul Marlowe, Taz?
Yes.
Yeah, so Taz is one of my best mates. We worked on the ships back in the 90s together. I love Taz. He's like a godfather to my daughter. I'm godfather to his kids. I love him. He's one of my favourite people in the world. And his brother-in-law was in the army and booked him. They said, can we book you to come down to our barracks and do a show? And he was like, no, because they will kill me. So I got the gig. And I went down there, and I actually went down 4 times. I went parachuting with the SAS, and I had a ball. I had such a blast with those guys, and they were lovely. I did the officers' mess and the sergeants' mess, and they were great. And I had this little Scots guy, and he kept heckling me, and I called him Frodo, and he went, "Oh, you're only calling me short because I'm short." I said, "You're only calling me fat because I'm fat." And I said, "I called you Frodo because you look like you've had your ring destroyed." And and then he went, I went, "Come on, mate, give me some more. I do this for a living." And he went, "Well, I kill people for a living." I went, "Well, you've won then. You've won." The next day I did a parachute jump with him. I went up in his parachute and did a parachute jump. And I had a choice. I could do a tandem jump, or I could do one where I'm attached to the plane and it rips it. I wasn't allowed to pull it myself. And so I didn't want to be strapped to somebody else, so I just did a tied to the plane. And I'm carrying my parachute over to the plane, and he came over to me and he grabbed my parachute and he sniffed it and he went, "That smells like death." And they just walked off. And I was like, but I was now in his arena. I wasn't on stage anymore. I was in his playground, and he got the big laugh there. But you know, it's you walk out and your confidence comes because of what you've done before.
You've worked it, and you get your laughs and everything else. But going back, because we are magicians, we do have that safety net of
Joel mentioned about me doing the hypnosis. Yeah. And the first time I did my hypno show, I was petrified because I was walking out on stage with nothing in my pockets. If it goes wrong, I've got no magic, nothing. I've got nothing to fall back on, and it was terrifying. That magic always was a safety net. And then going out there and doing it, it was terrifying. Yeah. And I'd watched it. There's a guy called Mike Rose, a great magician. Mike Rose, another one of my brothers actually, and godfather to my daughter and stuff. And I'm godfather to Alfie, his son. And he would do the hypnosis of the show, and then one night he couldn't come to my hotel, and we'd been advertising hypnosis, and I'd heard it so many times, I just knew the script, so I got up and did it. But I was petrified, absolutely. I think I had about 4 Jack Daniels and Coke before I walked out on stage. I was terrified. And Kennedy, you know Kennedy? Kennedy's a great guy. He came over to Spain, and we went to this hotel, the Molinos Park. Do you remember Molinos Park? It was the one up in Cap Salou. It was so rough. It was so rough. They had plastic glasses. They weren't allowed to have glasses because there was always fights in there. It was a really rough hotel. And I walked up on stage, and I got 20 people up, and I thought, oh, this is going to be brilliant. Kennedy's in the audience. I'm about to impress him with my hypnosis skills, and I got nobody. Nobody went under. And I've got 40 minutes to fill, and I've got nobody on stage. They've all moved back and sat down. And I look over, and Kennedy goes, "Stop somebody's pulse." Like, good idea, good idea. So I got this guy up, and I stopped my pulse, just like a ball under my arm, and I stopped my pulse. And everyone was clapping, and I kind of got their respect a bit. And I was thinking, well, and then he waved me like this. I went, "Mike," he goes, "Stop everybody's pulse." So I went, "How do I do that?" He went, "Just suggest it." So I got everybody up, paired them all up, holding each other's wrist. I mean, as I do this, it's going to slow down. And I slowed it right down. And a woman over here screamed and went, "Oh my God, their pulse has stopped." And then somebody over here, "Oh my God, their pulse has stopped." And I'm thinking, no, it hasn't. I've just said it has. And it was a beautiful, yeah, the safety net is a great thing. But again, my confidence after that night swelled up so much because I'd gone out there with nothing, and I'd still done it. Yeah. And I think, yeah, you've got to keep pushing yourself. You've got to keep moving forward. Even if you fall flat, get up. If you've got a child and your child falls off the bike, the first thing you say is get back on the bike. And it's the same for us. If we're doing something and it drops, and it's so bad, I get asked a lot at lectures and when I talk to kids in schools, because I do talk about business and stuff with kids in schools, and I always get asked it, no matter if it's a magicians or kids or whatever. They go, "What do you do if a trick goes wrong?" And it seems to be everybody's biggest fear. It's all like, I don't think I've ever had a show where something hasn't gone wrong. Maybe my fault, maybe somebody else's fault. Something will always happen. The thumb tip won't be in there or something, you know. And you have to think on your feet very quickly. But something can always, if something can go wrong, it will. And you know, you just have to roll with it and just keep moving. And that's the most important thing. You've got to keep it moving forward.
Yeah. So if you keep moving forwards, your confidence is going to build, and you can just keep doing it. I guess your success is based on your failure.
Yes, you can't succeed without failure. You can't succeed without failure. You can't. And if you do, if you're really lucky and you go out the first time and you nail it straight on, then in some ways I pity you, because you don't have that experience for the next time when you are likely to fail. You know, you've got to have the failures to be the J.K. Rowling. Another one. It's another quote in one of the books I've done in Maxim's Primer. J.K. Rowling. She said, "Rock bottom is the foundation I built my success on." Yeah, and that's beautiful. To take that. Well, she was skint. She was writing Harry Potter by candlelight because she couldn't afford to put the electric on. She had jumpers on because she couldn't afford to put the heating on. She was barely affording to eat and cover her rent, and she was so skint. She was right at the bottom, but she didn't stop, and she kept writing, and she built that as a foundation because it's rock solid. Failure will always be the hardest thing you hit. You know?
And from that, Stephen King, like talking about authors, he was an alcoholic in a caravan where he'd written most of his stories.
I think Carrie, I think it was Carrie, or one of the first books he wrote, I think it might have been Carrie, was rejected by about 20 publishing houses. Right. Nobody wanted it. Nobody liked it. He was told over and over, this isn't going to work. It's rubbish book. And then one publisher liked it, published it, and then boom. If it wasn't Carrie, it was maybe the car one. But it was one of the first books he wrote, and it was just literally, no, not interested, no, not interested. Yeah. And we have that as well, you know. We'll have somebody phone up, "Can I book you? You know, what do you do?" Yeah, you're not really what I'm looking for. Okay, fair enough. One thing close-up magicians are really scared of is rejection of going over to a table. You know, that's always big. I do a restaurant course. I should say very quickly, one of my books is on Restaurant Magic. It was called The Definitive Guide to Restaurant Magic, but we changed it to The Expert at the Restaurant Table. Yeah, I got a bit of grief for that, I'm not going to lie, but I don't care. And when people come on my restaurant course, I actually go over to the table, because I do it in a restaurant in Frankie and Benny's, and that I work at, and I'll go over to the table and I'll say, oh, we've got some magicians in today. They're going to come around the table. Would you like to see some magic? Oh, you would? That's brilliant. Would you do me a favour? When they first come over, will you just say no to them? We'll send them back over to you, but when they first come over, just say no. And I don't tell them this. I tell the spectators. And so they go up to the table and they go, hi, yeah, do you want to see some magic? And they go, no, we don't, thanks. And the look on their faces is just, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they walk away. And then I explain to them, and this is probably one of the most important pieces of advice I give to anybody. If you're working in restaurants or you're doing table magic and you're going round, if someone says no to you, it's not personal.
No.
Just move on. If the waitress goes over and says, oh, did you enjoy your food? And they go, it was lovely, thank you. And she goes, oh, that's brilliant. Could I interest you in some dessert? If they go, oh, no, I don't think so. She doesn't go, oh, you know, no, they don't want your dessert. They're done. Finished. Yeah. Move on. She doesn't, it's not personal. So when you go over and go, hi, do you want to see some magic? And they go, no. Okay, fine, thanks. Here's my card. If you change your mind, give me a shout. I'll come back over.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I get tagged a lot in the forums. And I was on one of the threads and it said, I went over to a table and I said to the guy, do you want to see some magic? And he went, no. And then 10 minutes later, he was like, actually, yeah, can we see some magic? And I told him, no, he'd had his option, he'd had his chance, and I moved on. And I was like, that is the most unprofessional thing. And everyone was going, yeah, tell him, nah, F off, you know. Like, no, what are you doing? That's the worst advice possible. You've got somebody who, you don't know what the people sitting down are going through either. But unfortunately, on the threads, you get people who don't know what they're talking about. And they think they're the big I am. Oh, yeah, tell them. No, you should have said yes a minute ago, mate. What? Idiots. I was talking to a couple and I went over to the table and said, oh, can I see some tricks? And they went, no, we're fine, thank you. And I walked away. And about 5 minutes later, the main man on the table came over to me and said, we're really sorry. We would love to have seen some magic, but my dad's just passed away. So you never know what the people at the table are dealing with. You know, seeing some fat bloke in a suit doing card tricks is the last thing they want to see. You know, you take it personal. I got booked for the funeral though.
You got booked for the funeral.
I have funeral business cards.
You do?
I do. I've got one in my hand right now. And I'm going to show it to you.
Right, hang on. Wait there.
We'll go.
Wait. We've got to go full screen for this one.
People don't believe me that I give these out, but I do. Okay. It tells a story. And my business card, if I get it in the light. Can you see? Hold on. I'm going to come round. I'm going to turn the light off for a second. Let me just come round here. Let me just turn my ring light off. And hopefully... putting the fun into funeral. And the web address, funerals@waynegoodman.co.uk.
That's amazing.
I love it. I think it's hilarious. But I've done about 5 funerals. The last one was for a young lad. He was 18. He had cancer, and he organised his own funeral. And I got a list of things. It said things like no crying, no wearing black. And I turned up to this venue, and they had full life-size cutouts of him. Yeah. Like there was one by the bar with a beer like this. It was the cutout. And then all of his mates got round the picture and had a photograph and uploaded to the Facebook page. And it looked like he was there with a pint with them. And there was another one of him asleep in a chair. And there's a little sign saying, come and draw on my face with a Sharpie. Because apparently that's what they used to do to him all the time when he was asleep. And it was brilliant. It was one of the best shows I've ever had. It was great. Everyone was laughing, having a great time. And it was a couple of times I had to remind myself I was at a funeral. It's like, this is a funeral. They brought out a wooden coffin and they took the lid off the coffin and inside was 40 pints of beer for all of his mates. And they all reached in and took out a pint and then cheered him and drank him off. It was great. It was fantastic.
I think sometimes I've done a couple of funerals, and sometimes people need an excuse to not be too dour, because everybody knows that they're there for a reason. But if you hear somebody laugh at the other side of the room, You can go, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody's going to get upset if I laugh.
It's the same at weddings. It's the same at weddings.
Yeah.
It's the same as weddings. People at weddings is very formal, and sometimes you need someone like me there to break the ice so that people know it's okay to relax and enjoy the day. Otherwise, they're so, oh, it's a wedding, we've got to be really like, you know, got to be really rigid. And then it's like, no, you can relax, you can enjoy it, have some fun with it. So yeah, I think as long as it's appropriate and you can make it fit to what they're doing. I've done weddings that, like, my worst ever funeral experience. I turned up to this wedding experience. I turned up to a wedding, and one of the groomsmen was outside. And you always get this, and you'll notice if you've done weddings, you go in, they go, oh, the bride and groom was supposed to be back 20 minutes ago. They don't come, the photographer, we can't find them. Don't panic about it, I'm here, you know. Or, oh, the food's going to be 20 minutes late. Okay, don't worry about it, chill, I'll do it. The last wedding I did before lockdown, the groom spent an hour and a half in the toilet throwing up. He was so nervous. So I went out the front and did a 20-minute impromptu stand-up act for the whole room. They didn't even know that the groom wasn't there. And then I saw them at the door and I introduced them in, they came in. But yeah, you know, it's a great asset to have. I turned to this funeral, this wedding, and there's a guy stood there. So I walked over, nonchalant, like this. And I go, and I'm like, you all right, buddy? He goes, you the magician? And I went, yeah. And he goes, oh, thank goodness. Listen, mate, I've heard it all before. Whatever the problem is, we can sort it out. And he physically went, oh, thank goodness for that. I said, right, what's happened? Well, I'd never heard this before. He said, well, there's been a bit of an incident, and the mum of the bride had an argument with the mum of the groom, and she picked up a glass off the table and smashed it and shoved it in her face. So she's been arrested, and the other one's been taken to the hospital. But meanwhile, the two dads have got into a fight. One grabbed the knife off the cake and stabbed the other one. He's been arrested. The other one's gone to hospital. There's a bit of atmosphere in the room, and we need the light in it. I was like, what? So I walk in, and they've moved all the tables, and all one side is one family, and all one side is the other family. So I go up to the first side, and I'm like, hi, I'm Wayne the Magician, and they are over the top nice to me. Like I'm one of them, yeah? I was getting hugs and high fives, and they were a brilliant table. And I thought, oh, this isn't actually too bad. And I start to walk over the dance floor to the other side, and this bloke stands up and he goes, oi, if you're entertaining them, don't come across the dance floor. And I went, okay. So I went back over that side. I did 3 tables. I had a great time. The groom came back in. He went, it's more than we could have hoped for. And I went home. But yeah, wedding nightmare. I've got hundreds of those stories, hundreds of them. Maybe I should do that as my next book.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I mean, yeah, we've all done those sorts of things.
Don't even do it as a book. Do it as like some kind of video download and just explain it.
Yeah, just like an interview.
Tell the story.
You sat with your little storybook in front of the fire.
Yeah. And then there was this time, and a pipe.
Yeah, one time at a wedding.
Big chair, glass of brandy.
You need like a playing card dressing gown, smoking jacket.
It was the summer of 2016.
Right.
Shall we talk about the other packages just so people can
right. I think this time we need to stick to the bundles and tell everybody what they are.
Okay. So the first bundle is the joke book bundle. We've done that one. The second bundle is the books. So what I've got 4 books that I've published. Let me just find them here. These are my 4 main books. So there's The Expert at the Restaurant Table. None of these books have any tricks in. These are all theory books. And I always say there's no tricks in them, but they are rammed full of secrets. So this was probably my bestseller so far, and it's my most critically acclaimed. I've had so much feedback from this. People sending me messages saying, you've literally generated tens of thousands of pounds work for me because of the workload. This is how to work in a restaurant, how to get the gig, how to work the gig, what not to do, how to stay working for the restaurant. There's some very, very cheeky little things you can do that will keep you working. Who to suck up to. If there's regulars in the bar, you sit in the bar every day, make sure you see them because they have the ear of the manager.
So if you talk to them, they will keep you sweet in there as long as you can. It's quite a big book. I don't do massive writing, so it's quite filled out. There's lots of information in there, and that's the expert at the restaurant table. Then there's Go Compare, which I love the names of my books, by the way. Go Compare is it's an introduction to being a compere. So it teaches you how to walk on stage, how to walk off stage, how to interact with an audience, eye contact, body language. A lot of information in here as well on how to make it and how to be a good compere for shows. So even if you're calling bingo or you're helping out a local dance hall and you've got to get on the microphone, this is going to give you the information that you need to get onto the stage. I wrote another book called Plan, Prepare, Perform, but I recently updated it and changed the name. I didn't think so this is the Heckler book. This one, I didn't think Plan, Prepare, Perform really fit what I was talking about. And then I was watching John Wick, and his third film is Parabellum, and I really like the name Parabellum. I also, in my guns, I used to use Parabellum rounds. They call them Parabellum rounds. Parabellum is Latin. It means if you want peace, prepare for war. And it really sums up, if you walk out on stage prepared to get somebody heckle you, then if it happens, you're in a better situation. If you go out there unprepared, then you're going to come off worse off. They're going to annihilate you. Most performers nowadays don't get heckled, but this has got some great, even anything that somebody dropping a plate full of food or somebody coming in late and causing a bit of a noise, all these things can be classed as an interruption or a heckle of sorts. And this will tell you again, it's not massive writing, it's rammed full of information. There is a chapter on heckle stoppers and put downs and things, but it is one of the smallest chapters in the book. If you want to find put down lines, there's plenty of resources for that. This is a book about how to identify the heckler and deal with it in the proper way. Don't make a mistake. If you've got a drunk person, or if you've got a bloke just trying to be funny, then using put downs for a drunk isn't going to work. It needs to be. And also, I don't really like going too hard with the hecklers, because some places they're just idiots and they just need to be put in their place. I had a drunk guy once heckle me, and the line I used was, "Go and sit by the wall, mate. That's plastered too." And it was enough to control the situation and get a nice. Everyone was laughing, so when he heckled me again, nobody heard it because everyone was laughing, and so then he kind of lost his stride. And he kind of just went and sat down again. So yeah. And this is my new one. This is Maxim's Primer. A theory on showmanship. This is one I'm really, really proud of. This it's my absolute. It talks about everything from using comedy, building confidence, eye contact, stage fright. Where's the next one? The flow, which is the flow of the show, making it work in the running order, coming on, coming off, openers, closers, audience management, engaging the audience, eye contact, applause, getting applause, etc. Microphone techniques, the lean, practice versus rehearsal, scripting. It's full on the comedy chapters at the back. It's full of, my favourite chapter actually, the power of silence, which is something that I use a lot. When I'm, especially with my comedy, I will pause and let the moment linger and let them get the joke and allow them to then respond. And the power of silence is a really, really important thing. Maxim's Primer is actually another in-joke. That's from the film Doctor Strange, which came out a couple of years ago. When he first goes to the Sanctum and he meets Wong, he gets given a load of books, and the first book he's given is Maxim's Primer. And I really like the name of it, so I decided, I had a look, and it was a joke. It actually means, if I go into the front, it means the first general rule to follow, which is why it's the first book that he's given. And so I thought, well, that's pretty fitting. So Maxim's Primer. These are all £20 each. But if you want all four of them, again, as a download, they're £20 each. If you want to get them, so if you want them individually, you can PayPal me and just say, I'd like that book. However, if you want all four of them, then it's £50. So you're saving £30 again. So I've knocked £30 off that. And then very quickly, I've got a couple of other things which we can talk about in a second, but I've got a couple of new releases, which, although they're coming out on Friday, if you order them today, I will send them to you today. There's a Remote Control, which is a book of self-working tricks that you can do. Almost all of them are hands-off, so you can get the spectator on the other end of the camera to get a pack of cards, and they can do the trick, and it will still work. And there's a couple that can't. There's also an updated version of the Grey Elephants in Denmark that I do. I actually did it today on a radio show, which is going to be aired tomorrow for Maritime Radio London, which has 47,000 listeners on average. It's huge. It goes all over London, and it's a big radio station. And so I did the Grey Elephants in Denmark because I can do it over the radio. Did it over the phone.
Yeah.
But I do it slightly different. I'll tell you what I do. It's nothing groundbreaking. So you do the normal routine where you end up in Denmark, but then instead of saying move on to the next letter, I say take the letters in Denmark, or I say take the letters of the country that you're thinking of, and go to the last letter and think of an animal that begins with that letter. And now go to the last letter of that animal, and the last letter, think of a colour, if you can, that begins with that letter. So now almost everybody is going to be thinking of an orange kangaroo in Denmark.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more random than Grey Elephants in Denmark. It's a bit more random. It's a bit more boom. And I kind of prefer that. So I wrote it up and put it into the. Apparently it's been done before, but I've never seen it written down. So it's one that I've used for years and came up with years ago, and it just suits my personality. So yeah,
that's a good idea. We've just had a question about the books. Somebody, Scott Clark, is asking, do we get them as books or PDFs?
PDFs. Everything will be sent to you via WeTransfer.
Excellent.
So if you pay by PayPal, put what package you would like, the joke book package or the book package or the new release package, and your email address, and I will email them. Or you could another way you could do it as well is you can just send me a message on Facebook, and I'll respond to the message, and you can tell me what you want, and I'll send them straight through to you. Now, if you want the 4 books, and you want the joke books, and you want the new releases, so the new releases are £20, but I'm knocking £5 off all of them. And I've also got my video file of Prism, which is a stacked deck system that you'll learn in 3 minutes and you'll never forget. It's so simple, it's brilliant, and you can learn it in 3 minutes. In my lectures, I teach it in 3 minutes, and you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. It's that simple to remember. There's nothing to remember. So they're normally £20 each for the files, but I will do them for £15 each. Now, if you add all that together, regardless of what package you go for, if you want to go for any package on its own, I will also throw in the Jedi Philosophy, which is a book I wrote about the correlation between being a Jedi and being a magician. It sounds bonkers, but it does work. It's something I wrote years ago, and I've just been building on. And I'll include my lecture notes, which has all the tricks that I do in the lecture notes. So regardless, they're free as a free gift. If you buy a package, I will give you those for free. On top of that, if you want the joke books, if you want the 4 books, and you want the 3 new downloads, that all adds up, and the lecture notes and the thing. All in all, total retail, if you were to buy them singly, it adds up to, I think it's £230. However, if you want to buy the lot, I would do a download, a big download of everything, and I'll throw in some extras I've got as well. I did a couple of books for a couple of projects, questions I asked myself, and motivational quotes, and a memory thing I did as well. Can't remember what I called that. And I'll do I'll throw them in as well, and I'll do a whole package so you can get everything, which should be, even the package prices would be 50 plus 30 plus 50, 50, 15. I think it's about £210, £120, I think, or something, for 75. So you can get everything for £75. There's everything there with the prices on it, and you get everything for £75 straight to my PayPal, and I will just whack over the whole lot to you in one big download. With the interaction, you get all the artwork as well. So I get mine printed up onto business cards and postcards and stuff. But if you want to, you can just send the images to people in the audience, and they can do it on their phones, or you can have it on your website and say, "I'll go to my." It's a great way to get people. Like the interaction one I'm going to show you now with the cards is on my website, and the guests can go to that page, and then while in the audience, say, "Right, everyone go to my website, go to this page." And now I want you to follow along with me, and I have the board up on stage, and it works. But it's also got everyone on my website. So after I've left, I've now got 200 guests all been on my website. So this is the interaction. and it's an old trick that was it Martin Gardner did in.
Do you want a full screen?
Yeah, you can if you want to. So if I do that, there we go. You should be able to see it. So it's it's an old principle. But what I've done with it is I've adapted it and changed it multiple ways to make it so. I've done this with children wearing different coloured hats, 2 different coloured hats, and then it ends up on the birthday child. I have one of these that I've got on. I give to the bride and groom as postcards for every place setting, which has got pictures of things at a wedding, and they all end up on the bride and groom, and then I introduce the bride and groom. The routine is really, really simple. If you just look at any single red card, okay, any red card you like, and now move left or right to the nearest black card, okay? So start on the red card, move left or right to the nearest black card, move up or down to the nearest red card, now move diagonally to the nearest black card, and now move left or right to the nearest red card. And if you follow the instructions correctly, no matter where you start, you'll now be on the 2 of hearts over here. Over here, you'll be on the 2 of hearts.
Brilliant.
But there's so many different ways you can use it. And I've only ever seen it done like that, really. So what I've done, and I've never seen it, I've been doing this now, must be 20 years. I've been doing it at weddings and at trade shows. So I did a trade show for Hawkins Bazaar, the company that owns them, Tow Bar. And I had all the old products on the picture. They had them all printed up for me. So I'd get 20 people on stand. I'd give them all a postcard. On the back was all the details about the deals that Tow Bar were doing. So it's free advertising for them as well. Yeah. And I'd go, okay, start on any boy's toy. And I'll move up or down to the nearest girl's toy. And they were in pink and blue squares. And then they all end up on this one toy, which is a unisex toy. And it was their new big release. And so I had a box on the table. And so like, you should all be looking at a toy now. And if I get this right, I want a huge round of applause. But please, please, please stand up and clap if you're thinking of. And I'd lift the box off. And there was the one toy that they were all looking at. And it was a great introduction for rather than going, right, I'm now going to pass over to the guys who are going to show you their new big toy. That's why you're all here. No, it's a great introduction. You're all looking at a toy. You've all made your own choices. And yet you're still looking at this. And it was beautiful. And again, with the bride and the groom, a great way to bring them in. So, you get all the artwork. You can change. I also include a couple of blank boards with different colour spaces. So you can add your own images and get them printed. And they're all copyright free, so you can just use them as you want. The only thing that you're wary of is the superhero one, which I think we're going to play, or play a variation of. This isn't the interactive, this is from remote control. Is I don't own the copyright for the images, obviously, because they're owned. But if you're making it up yourself, then there's no issue with that anyway. So,
do you want me to play it now?
Yeah, why not? I like it. It's quite cool. I can have another drink then.
Hey everyone, so today we're going to try an interactive trick and I'd like you to join in with me. In front of you, you're going to see 15 legendary superheroes. Some of them are more powerful than others and some of them are a bit more famous than others. However, I would like you to point your finger at any male superhero on the board. Now in a second I'm going to let you move around the board, but I'm going to try and find you. So moving left or right, I would like you to move to the nearest female superhero. So starting on a male superhero, move left or right to the nearest female superhero. And now I would like you to move up or down to the nearest male superhero. So move up or down to the nearest male superhero. Now I'm going to start eliminating pictures from the board. So he's one of the greatest superheroes ever, but I think I'm pretty sure you're not on Iron Man. So let's lose Iron Man. And I'm 100% sure that you didn't choose from the Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora. So let's lose Gamora. And she was brilliant in Into the Spider-Verse, but I'm pretty sure you didn't choose Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen. And he is mighty, but not today. So let's lose Thor as well. And I do like Spider-Man, one of my favourite superheroes, but we're going to lose Spider-Man from the list. And I also think Green Lantern. John Stewart's Green Lantern, he can go. He's gone too. So now we're down to 9 spaces left. Let's move around a bit more. I'd like you to move one space either to the right or one space down. Do that for me now. One space to the right or one space down. And we're going to lose the Wasp, because I know you're not on the Wasp, so she's going to go. And I think we can lose Wonder Woman. And I think we can lose... Yeah, let's lose Superman as well. Okay. Kal-El, he's gone. Okay, now I'd like you to move one more space, but you can go up, down, left or right. This is up to you. You're going to move one space, but you can go up, down, left or right. So do that for me now. Move one space. That's brilliant. And I think we can lose Shuri from Black Panther. And I think, okay, let's move 3 more times. Up, down, left or right. Move 3 more times. Up, down, left or right. And you should have done that by now. So I'm going to get rid of Captain Marvel. And okay, let's move 2 more times. Just 2 more times. Okay, up, down, left or right. Do that for me now. And he might be the world's greatest detective, but I think we can lose the Batman. So let's get rid of the Batman. He's going to go. See you later, Bats. Now we're going to move 1 more time. This is it. So I want you to move up, down, left or right, but move once. Do that for me now. Okay. And I think we're going to lose Valkyrie. Let's get rid of Valkyrie. And I'm also going to get rid of Black Panther too. So we'll get rid of the Black Panther. And of course that means that you're with me and I'm with you. We found each other. That's amazing. The world's greatest superhero. Magic Wayne, Super Wayne. That's brilliant. Thanks for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.
Super Wayne.
Super Wayne.
It worked.
Yeah.
Do you know what? We didn't just figure out what was really interesting. Me and Andy were both doing it on the same page together. And it still looks amazing if you're both doing it at the same time.
Yeah, we were at different points.
Yeah.
And it's still, so even with a group, it would be amazing because
everybody.
I've done that routine. I've done that routine at a wedding where the groom sent me Polaroid pictures of loads of guests. And all you need to do is remember the sequence. So you know which ones to take away as they go. So with remote control, every chapter at the end has 1 page or 2 pages dedicated to just the sequence. So it makes it easier to learn it and remember it. So you know you've got to take away, I number them. So 1 to 15, I take away 4, then 7, then 9, then 13. And as long as you remember the sequence and what numbers apply to what cards as you're doing the routine, it's very, very simple.
But just also to reiterate that is on the 2020 release deal.
Yes.
And it's the interactive book.
Yes, remote control.
There isn't just one trick. That is literally full of countless amount of interactive magic tricks with different.
There's 12. There's 12 in there.
12 routines in total.
12 routines.
That's amazing.
It is. I mean, the books themselves. I mean, we all spend lots of money on card trick books, tricks with coins, but nobody has ever put a comprehensive guide together on how to get work, what you need to do to maintain your work, what these little secrets that we don't tend to share that often because we go, well, actually, I've made all these mistakes to actually know that, well, I need to speak to Jim at the end of the bar because Jim's in every night and he's going to speak to the boss and go, do you know what, that Andy's all right. He's a good lad. He's, makes time for me. And so
I had a lot of people message me after the restaurant book and say, please don't do a book on weddings.
Right.
Because you'll just give everything to them,
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll leave that for 10 years. When I've stopped doing weddings, then I'll write that book. But it is that restaurant book is, it's everything you need to know. And one of the big compliments I get, and one of the things I'm quite proud of, and I didn't do this on purpose, but it seems to be my writing style. If you read those books, it feels like you're having a conversation with me. It doesn't feel like you're being dictated to. It's very conversational. And I break each paragraph up into little bits, and so it's very easy to read. You'll read the book if you sit down with them a couple of hours, and you'll do the whole book. But even I wrote them. I know everything that's in them. But even now, I'll sit down with them and I'll read through them, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's great advice. I forgot to do that the last couple of things, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't done that for a while. That's a brilliant thing, you know. And it's not done as a hold on. Gordon, thank you very much, Gordon. He just ordered the complete set. It just came up on my email. It's very conversational. It's very, very much the you know, you're not being. It's not like stereo instructions. You can read it, and hopefully it's quite entertaining as well. And also in the books, I put loads and loads of stories in there as well. One thing I haven't done, and this was really important to me, I don't like it when you get a book and it's full of filler, you know, fluff and blah, blah, talking about what you're going to tell them for 10 pages before you actually get to the subject matter. And I know I ramble on. I do ramble on when I'm talking. I can't help that, but I do ramble. But in the books, they are very concise. There are some chapters that maybe have a little bit of history at the beginning of the chapter and then goes into it. But by and large, every chapter is straight to the point, very concise. These books could have been 3 times thicker, but I didn't want it to have fluff. I wanted you to be able to read it and get straight to the good stuff. It's like comedy. It's like the jokes. Only hit for the gold runs, the home runs. Don't worry about the small hits. Aim for the big hits. And so the books go straight to the meat, straight to the good stuff. And when you read them, and you'll read it and you'll go, do you know what? And again, this is only from feedback I got from people who've already read them. And people say some of the things that are so simple that people will hit themselves around the head with a bat for not thinking of it. But again, sometimes they're the little juicy little nuggets that you want. They're the ones that are going to give you all the information. And some of them you'll go, oh, I never thought about doing that. That's a brilliant idea. You know, and that's what I've tried to do. And so you read the books not to make the mistakes that I've made, but although again, it is important to know why those were mistakes and how to avoid them. It just can save you a bit of embarrassment and a bit of.
Yeah, I mean, I wish when I started, I mean, I probably a bit like yourself. I had residencies in restaurants, and that's how I built my magic repertoire, my career, and everything else. So having to go through all the material, realizing what the regulars do and how to work around the staff, and you know, even when I work on big corporate events, I make friends with all the staff.
Yep.
Because the staff then go to the manager. That magician was really good. He didn't get under his feet. He helped out. He did this. He did that. That I would rather get that than go. Oh, you know, he would. Yeah. He was, you know.
He was in the way.
I have a big philosophy. This isn't for everybody. And if you work in America, then maybe this wouldn't be relevant for you either, just because of the nature of how Americans are. But I don't take any tips when I'm working. I never take any tips. I always say give it to the barmaids. Yeah. Give it to the waitresses, because I'm paid to do this, and you know it is my job and stuff. And it's very, very kind. And if they go, oh, no, please take it, I'll take it and then give it to the waitress afterwards. Yeah. It's all about, for me, an extra 5, an extra 10 would be great, but I'd rather they got it, because then they're going to say to the bosses, he's amazing, and I got twice the tip. I got twice the tip from. I always say this is I always say it wrong, but talking about tips very quickly, I've been tipped at tables that I've not even been to. One of the things I talk about in the book is about how I work in a restaurant. I don't work to one table. I'll work to this table here, but I'm incorporating this table and that table and that table, and I'm making jokes. I'm having a laugh with everybody. Everyone's involved in the show. And I've had people come up to me and gone, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I'm not even been to the table and sit me £10 or £20. Yeah. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. You know, that's great. And I go, it's a waitress. I was at a Frankie and Benny's, my regular Frankie and Benny's, which I've been at for 14 years now. And there was a table of girls came in. They were all about 11 years old, 12 years old. They were on my website. The dad sent me a picture of me with the girls. They were lovely. They were so cute. And they were lovely girls, all girls. And I'm doing my magic at the table for them. And I hear a little giggle over to my side. And I turn around and there's another family sat here. And there's a boy at the table and he's laughing at the joke that I've just made. And so I wanted to bring him in. So I went, are you watching me or are you checking the girls out? And of course he went bright red. And the dad went, are you checking my daughter out? And he went twice as red. And I was like, oh, how many girlfriends he got? And he went, none. And I went, 9? Wow, you add another 5 on, so that, you know, all the jokes. Anyway, then I got him to come over to the table and join in with the magic. And he did. He came over, bless him, and I took the mick out of a bit more and stuff. Anyway, he went back to his table because they were eating, and I finished up with the girls and I left. And I went over to the bar to get a drink, and I heard the music, dun, 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 and the happy birthday music came on. So I turned around and I'm clapping along with everybody else. And as I look over, they got the cake there. As they cut the cake, I noticed the boy has been invited back over to the table, and they give him a slice of the cake for him. So now I've brought these two families together, and this boy is now involved in the birthday party. So quick as a flash, I go straight back over and I bring out two business cards, and I give one to the birthday girl and one to this boy. And I went, you never know, but I do loads of weddings. And then I just left it again. And it got a huge laugh. And then all the other tables surrounding got a huge laugh from one of those as well. And it was just a quick throwaway thing, but it made it for everybody. And it's sort of like those, and I talk about that in the book. I talk about you've got to seize the opportunity. You've got to jump in there and grab it with both hands, and really, really go for it. I love it. I love my job. I really do. Thank you, Gordon and Scott. Thank you, Scott. More packages being brought. Thank you very much. As soon as I get off this, I will be sorting out all the packages for people. I would say if you've just bought the packages, or if you're going to buy the packages, please feel free to add me on Facebook. And I'm on the group, so you can find me on there, and drop me a message as well, and I can make sure then we can communicate, and I can make sure you get the packages and email addresses are correct and everything else. But yeah, feel free to message me.
Scott Clark says that this package has come at the right time, and it absolutely has, hasn't it? With Zoom shows and.
Well, I would say, if you've got the time to, if you go to my website, there's a bit that says the lockdown, and if you go into that page, it's every single show that I've done over lockdown on Facebook for free. So I started off doing a show every other day, and then I knocked it down to 3 days a week, and I've just knocked it down to 2 days a week. And it's every single show. There is some repetition of some of the kids' tricks, and a couple of tricks, but by and large, it's different tricks every single show. But there are a load of the interactive tricks have been done on the shows, and it will say interactive trick. And so you can actually watch the tricks in the Zoom, in the remote control book. You can actually see them being performed on the videos, which makes it a lot easier and a lot more, easy to understand. I think they're easy to understand anyway, and they're all very, very, very self-working. But sometimes it's easier to actually watch you doing it and seeing it. The radio show that I did today, the guy who recorded it, another Wayne, he's going to send me the audio file, so I'm going to put that on the website as well, so you'll be able to hear me do the grey elephants in Denmark with the orange kangaroos in Denmark, actually hear me doing it on the radio, which is great to have as well. Or you can tune into Maritime Radio tomorrow, Maritime London Radio at 2:00, and I'm on there tomorrow. We're making it sound like I'm on there live, but I'm not. We recorded it today, and it's because sometimes he said he's had a bit of a problem with the connection recording it. It cuts out and it's ruined. So I do a game show, and then I do a trick for them. So it's quite cool.
Hey. So I think did I see you with some cards there, Wayne? Are you about to show?
Can I show you my top change? This is one thing there's something else I'm doing. I will very quickly say, somebody put in the comments a minute ago, they put the clip thing that I did was done by Dave Loosely. Dave actually does the old version, not the new version. Or I don't think he does the new version. I have taught it to Dave, but he does that version. It's a great move, and if you can make it work, then that's brilliant. But what's this one? Also, Dave Wilson taught the clip. It's not the clip one that I use with the pinky though, unless he's teaching my one, in which case I'll have to have a word with him. I love Dave. Dave, I love you. He's a great guy. So this is I have a bit of philosophy when I'm working. I don't have sets of routines because I don't know what's going to work at one table isn't going to work at another. So I have loads of tricks on me, but I do have one thing that I pretty much do at every table, and this is this. So all the cards are different. I know the light is a bit bright on them. All the cards are different. Actually, I'm going to turn the light down just slightly. There we go. So hopefully you can see the cards. And Joel, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Oh, he's coming back in. Hello. Joel, I want to say stop, and remember the card that you stop at. Okay? Stop. I haven't started yet. all the gags. Okay, I'm going to look right away. So just say stop.
Stop.
Look at that card there.
Yeah, okay.
Can you see it?
Oh, no, I can't. Hang on. Come a bit closer, sorry. Oh, yeah, got it.
There you go. Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
okay. So I want you to remember that card and just keep saying it over inside your head, like 10 of clubs, 10 of clubs, 10 of clubs, okay? And I'm going to find your cards. We'll take out one card from the middle. We'll go for the 3 of spades. And if you watch it really closely, it's now your card, the 10 of clubs. So this is my, thank you, Rod. This is my little routine. I'm going to run through it very, very quickly. It's very, very simple.
Hang on, before you run through it again,
It does take a bit of practice. What's that?
Before you do it again, could we see it again? It looks really good.
Yeah. So I'll come right up to the camera. I won't look, I promise. You'll see what I'm doing in a second anyway. But just say stop. Stop. Look at that card there.
Yep.
You know what it is? 100%. So just keep saying it like 3 of spades, 3 of spades, 3 of spades, 3 of spades, 3 of spades. Okay. So I remember a friend of mine was trying to teach me the peak move, where you flick through and say stop, and then you kind of out jog it as you turn it over, and you catch a peek of the index of the card. Never worked for me. I could never get it. I just didn't like it. So what I came up with, so when the spectator says stop, I make a big deal about the fact that I'm looking right away from it. They say stop and they look at that card. Now you'll see here that I'm actually pulling the card right open.
Yeah.
As I bring the card back, I stick my pinky in and I rotate it down. So now I've got a finger break above the card, below the card. There's the card there. Yeah. So look at it again. So look at that card there.
Yeah.
And now my pinky's right in there. As the cards come down, I'm going to kind of do a half cut, a half pass. But I'm going to use my pinky and my ring finger. I'm going to rotate those cards up as I take these cards out and then dribble them on top. So now I've moved the chosen card to the bottom of the pack. Okay. So done at speed. So stop. Look at that card there. And now boom. And now it's on the bottom. But I'm still keeping eye contact with the people. I'm not looking at the cards. And then I pull the cards up onto my fingers like so. And I pull the bottom card off and shuffle the rest of the cards onto the top. So now their chosen card is now on the top. Okay. But as I'm doing that, I take a very quick peek at the card. And again, every time I've done this, people don't see me look at the card. They swear I didn't look at the cards. I'll do it in real time. So say stop. Look at that card there. Okay, you know what it is. Okay, quick peek, and that's it. Now I know it's the 4 of diamonds. So now I can do the gag, keep saying it like 4 diamonds, 4 diamonds, 4 diamonds, 4 diamonds. And I can repeat it as many times as I want. They'll never catch me looking at it. It's such a beautiful move. So now I've got the card on the top. I generally here, I do the Bill Malone toss move, where I take off 2 cards, and as I turn my hands over, I drop the top card and I palm the bottom card. So it looks like that. And I've switched the cards. But if I haven't got a table, then I'll just go straight to this part. So let's say the 4 of diamonds is the chosen card. Now, so I shuffle the cards, just keep saying it like 4 diamonds, 4 diamonds, 4 diamonds. Yeah. And now I take out any random card from the middle, just one, and I show it. And now I'm going to do my top change, which is that. And now it becomes their chosen card. So what I'm doing here, everything I do with the cards, top change, second deal, and double lift, all come from this push-off move. I push off 2 and I pull back. So if I'm doing second dealing, I push off 2 and I pull back, and I can second deal all the way through the pack. If I'm doing a top change, I push off, this one comes in and I pull back. So it's all based on that push off, pull back. And if I'm doing a double lift, I push off and I pull back, and I've got a double lift with one hand. So I'm not doing this stuff with the cards. I can literally take the cards like that, and now boom, I'm now set up for a double lift, and I can go straight into it. Let's go back to the top. So what I do here is I have the card here. I push off the top card. I bring this card down, and it falls flush with the card on top of the pack, which I've pushed up. Let me turn it face up. So I push that one off to the side. This one comes down and goes flush with that one. The thumb pulls back, and these fingers underneath push forward. So it all happens as one motion. It comes down and it pushes forward, and I rotate my fingers round and clip this card with these fingers as I rotate the other way up to here. Now when that's face down, so it's here, as it comes down, flush, rotate, I've now switched it, it now comes up to here, so the faces of the cards are here, and you're looking at the back of this one. And from that instant it happens, it doesn't even look like the card's touched, because it happens so fast. So it's here, and then it's now changed to a completely different card. And what's really lovely is I can do a Charlie A cut, and go straight into it and have it changed to another completely different card. So I can do multiple changes. Look, it's gone. There's a change, and now it's changed again, and I'm moving on to another card. It's just a really
that is really nice. Even when you did it in slow motion, because you're doing that push off move, that look, it's really clean. So even if
I've
people
never
are
been caught.
burning
I've never been caught. I've never had a spectator go, "You just did something,"
Yeah.
because it looks like I'm just turning the card over.
Yeah.
It all gets caught up in that turning the card over. And also as well, when the card is here, when I'm up here, that's when the card changes now. A whole 10 seconds after I did anything. It's been here for 10 seconds. So when I'm here and I bring it up, check this out, and that's the moment the card changes for the spectator. So it's my favourite. Again,
the third moment happens as you're moving up. So it kind of the bigger movement hides the
smaller movement. Well, it kind of camouflages it in.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that as a download at some point as well. I'm really proud of that. It's something that I've really worked at, made it as. I remember David Williams saying that he practiced so much that they can burn his hands and they still won't see him doing it. And that's what I wanted with this. I wanted it to be so clean and so precise that I can do it over and over again. And I used to work a lot in nightclubs, so I didn't have, this isn't my performing area, this is my performing area.
Yeah.
So when you choose a card, it happens here. When I do the change, it happens here. Everything happens here, not down here.
Yeah.
Which is, I found it very tricky moving over to doing stuff on a mat because I'm used to being everything up in my hands. But I've done McDonald's aces and things like that. You can't do that up here. It has to be down there, really.
Yeah, and that again, it works for a bigger group. If you're working for a table, and even if you're doing Zoom shows now, I'm finding I'm doing more up here than having to, because the angle's not right with the camera and things like that. So
it's not. The great thing about the video is you and I are both face to face. It's great. I can do the trick here. Pick a card, just say stop. Okay, I'm not going to look at that card. It's all as if we were face to face, which we are, although we're not.
The vision is kind of static with the camera as well. So all people's eye can do is just move up and down. So
that can be a blessing and a curse, because when I did a TV show back in '99 called Emmys for Magic, and don't worry, you didn't see it. Do you know what? It was a real thing. We had I'm pretty sure Paul Zennon was involved in it as well. There was 2 shows being done, or 3 shows being done. Paul Zennon was doing a big show that was going to make him the next big thing. I'm pretty sure it was Paul. I might be wrong. Paul, if you're watching, it wasn't you. I do apologise. And there was a company called Alamac that I got involved with through Rodney actually, and we were making another show called Emmys for Magic, and apparently there was another group of magicians making another show in the north of England, and they were doing a show as well. There was Bobby Bernard was on my show, Mark Spellman was a consultant, John Allen was involved in it, and a couple of other people as well. And we filmed all around London. It was great. And but I learned, and then what happened was everything was filmed. I was talking to Alamac, and they were going, the footage looks amazing. We're going to hopefully get a release date for the show. It's looking brilliant, and it all moved forward. And then out of nowhere, just completely out of nowhere, David Blaine's first special dropped, and everything was cancelled. Everyone just got dumped because no one could compete with him and Leonardo DiCaprio. And that's what killed the show. And our show ended up being shown on some moody Sky channel at 3:30 in the morning that nobody saw. But I learned from that show, and the one thing I learned was, the main thing I learned was, you can't misdirect the camera.
No.
So it's a bit like stage magic. You have to make your misdirection really. If I can't, so I do the trick with the ropes where you've got to pull the knots off and ditch them. And the first time I did it on the live show, you could see them in my hands going down because maybe they missed it the first time they watched it. When they watched it live, if they watch it again, they're going to catch it because you can't misdirect the camera. So I do a little bit of editing on the video. The whole thing is just there, and I might get you the first time, but the second time, you're not going to
HD now, so you can rewind it, you can pause it. It's all in HD. You can zoom in. So it is. It's
my face. my face was not made for widescreen HD TVs.
Makes two of us.
Great.
Any more questions? Anything else coming in?
So, Dean Allen Jones has said, so parlour magic like drawing restrictions, working at chest height. So yeah, so I'm finding especially with the Zoom shows, you see sort of top of my head down to a bit like you are now. So everything's done in, like you said, in this square here. So everything
with my Facebook live shows have all been filmed. So my first few Facebook lives, I didn't have a proper thing for my phone, so I was using this Darth Vader as a phone. It's a phone holder that you watch, so you can watch films and stuff, or just hold it. And I had the camera resting on that. And then my friend Juan, who's a wedding photographer, he very, very kind. I love Juan. He's a great guy. He's one in a million. He bought me one of these. It's a stand with a ring light on it, and it holds the phone in the middle. And he sent that to me. I was like, oh my god, it's amazing. And then my friend Stacey bought me, not bought me, but gave me a couple of. I've got the square photographer's lamps, which are silver on the inside. I've got one there and one over there to illuminate the room up a little bit more. And then so it makes it a lot easier. But everything, all the live shows are done here. I have got a banner over there, which is a curtain. It looks like it's printed, but it looks like a curtain. And I have done a couple of Zoom parties that way. But by and large, I do everything here. Or I put my laptop. I've got my laptop here. I put that up here, and then they can look down this way. But even if I'm doing kids tricks, what we've got down here for the kids. So in my live shows, I do a trick for the kids and a trick for the adults. And I've got a lot of little ones watching. They like to say abracadabra, and then the meter goes up and down. I've got loads of colouring books and loads of very visual kids magic, but that even works in this frame as well. And then at this angle, I can then go down onto the table and do card tricks and whatever I want with the cards. I do a couple of tricks for the adults, a couple of tricks for the children. I should say, and I do apologise, I am a bit of a fanatic about Star Wars. I've got the dice from Phantom Menace. I was actually used in the film. I've got a lightsaber that was actually used in Attack of the Clones. That's actual from the film. They have a wooden pole in it, and then they illuminate the pole. But this was actually used by one of the extras and was a gift. A friend of mine makes all this stuff, and he said, "Here, that was my 40th birthday present from him." I've got this. This is the walking stick from Jurassic Park with the mosquito inside the end.
Oh, look at that!
It was an extra one, and it was that was a gift. And then I've got this, which I bought in Spain. And do you know what? I will give. Let me get it. If they do it before we finish the video, okay. So anyone who's watching, this is for you. Then leave a message. But I'll give a freebie. I'm sure I've got something that's not in the thing. I will give a freebie if you could tell me what film this is from.
I know what that's from.
It's a dagger.
Yeah.
Hang on. I was going to say Indiana Jones.
No, but you're not far off.
No, I know what that's from. And if people want a hint, the head comes alive.
Yes. The main character holds it, and it opens its mouth and bites him in the cleaning there. And did you know that? Well, we'll leave it a second, see if anyone does it. But it's the person, the main character, the story that character is based on was written by one of the best card magicians in the world.
Really?
Yep. I'll give it 10 seconds. Let's give it 10 seconds, see if anyone does it. If not, I'll say who it is. Johnny, is it Johnny? Is it Jimmy? Jimmy Willis. Wayne, do you have any favourite comedy magicians or comedians? Yes, I do. So comedians, I'm a big fan of Dara O'Brien, and I'd never seen Dara except on Mock the Week, and then somebody said to me, "You're so much like Dara O'Brien, the way you interact with the audience." Yeah. And I was like, "Well, I've seen Mock the Week. He doesn't interact with the audience at all." So I downloaded one of his. I bought one of his specials and I watched it, and I was blown away by what he does. And I was like, "My God, that is exactly what I do." And so he very quickly became a big favourite of mine. I'm a big fan of Jeffrey Ross, who you might know if you watch the Comedy Central roasts.
He does the roast.
He's very quick and very, very funny.
Yeah.
My all-time favourite comedian, comedy magicians, I love Bill Malone. I think Billy is brilliant. And Matt Edwards. Matt Edwards is probably the only performer I would refuse to go on after. If I was on the bill with Matt Edwards, I would refuse to go on after him because he's so funny and effortlessly funny, and just you know, I've known Matt since he was 12 years old, and just seeing him become the performer that he is, I'm so proud of him. And you know, maybe I had an influence on that. I got him the job in Spain with Rodney to begin with, but he fast outgrew any of us. You know, it's just amazing. But my favourite comedian of all time, Paul Sylvester. Yes, you are complete. And Sean Mann. Hold on, Jimmy Willis. A few of them have got it. It's The Shadow. It was The Shadow with Alec Baldwin played The Shadow. This is from the film. Yeah. This is from the film. This is screen used. It's worth about £800. It was a special gift to me from a friend of mine in Hollywood. I did some magic for his daughter about five years ago. Oh no, not this one. No, I got this one in Spain. Sorry, no, forget that. I got this one in Spain. It's from and it was written by Walter B. Gibson.
Was he really?
Right. Yes, Walter B. Gibson invented The Shadow, and that's I've got something else. It's upstairs. Maybe that on another show.
I was looking around for my black scarf. I was going to put my black scarf on.
Oh yeah, across the
yeah, because it's just the eyes that are just lit. Oh, have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, he drives around in a taxi and he does loads of favors for people.
Right.
And whenever he needs something, he'll, you know.
So typical billionaire. He's a billionaire playboy and superhero, very much like Bruce Wayne. But he went missing for a number of years and ended up in Tibet, and he learned the power to use hypnosis and suggestion to cloud the minds of his enemies. So without spoiling it too much, the baddie that he's up against is hiding in this hotel and nobody can find him because everyone looks at an empty lot, but actually there's a 200-floor hotel there, but nobody can see it. He's hiding the whole city. No, the whole city can't see it. He's that powerful.
I don't think you've any spoilers. I think he was out in the late 1980s, early 90s, something like that.
Early 90s. Yeah. I got these are a couple more of my favourite things. This is a casino chip from Casino Royale, actually used in the film, and a casino chip from Ocean's 13. That was a gift to me. I was in Vegas, and I did some magic for a casino over there, and they gave it to me as a thank you. To be honest, they opened up a big box and they had hundreds in there, and he threw one at me. But yeah, I was still quite pleased. I don't think they're worth anything, but you know, it's a nice little memento to have.
It is nice to have it.
What I'll do is, because a few people have put The Shadow down, what I'm going to do, Joel, Andy, is I'm going to send you something, and you can just put it on the page for everybody to have it as a free download. I've got some stuff. Yeah, well, I'll find something in my files. I'm sure I've got something I can share with you that everyone can have a copy of.
Somebody's just asked, what's your favourite sort of gig? Whether it's close up stage. That was Dean James.
I'm very lucky because I do everything. I do kid shows, I do cabarets, I do company dinners, I do weddings, I do restaurants. So to be honest with you, if this was a normal year, now we'd be in the middle of wedding season, and I'd be doing loads of weddings. But I'd also have a few end of school leavers parties to do as well. But by and large, all weddings. So when we get to September and the weddings calm down, I do a lot of between September and middle of November, when the Christmas parties start up, I'm doing a lot of kids parties. Right. And so it's really, really nice because I've missed doing the kids stuff.
Yeah.
So when I finish doing all the close up over the summer, I can then go to the kids stuff, and it's really, really nice. And I can change my character, and I can be the funny guy with all the kids. But then likewise, when it gets back to being Christmas, I'm doing all the drunk parties. It's quite nice to leave all the very clean kids humour and go a bit more. I'm never rude. I don't swear. But when I saw Toy Story, I realised just how you can use a lot of adult humour in what you do. So so when I'm doing the parties and I'm doing all the flirty jokes and not too much flirting anymore, because again I'm getting to that age now, it gets a bit creepy. But yeah, it's sort of like you do all the jokes with the guys. And I turned up to a wedding once, and I walked in, and the lady who booked me, the mum of the bride, she was very timid, and she said, she goes, there's a bunch of guys at the bar. They're all Andy's football friends, and they're quite loud. And if you want to stay away from them, I understand completely. I'm like, you're joking? I'm going to go there first.
Yeah,
that's where I'm heading. If I can get them guys, the rest is a breeze, you know. And so yeah, it's sort of like. But once I've had all that, it's quite nice to be able to go back to that and leave the kids stuff behind and go and have a bit of a laugh with the adults. And then after Christmas, back into the schools, and I'm doing educational shows, and it's quite nice to be with the kids again. And then again, switching back up to the adults for the weddings and stuff and the family shows. And sometimes it's nice to be on stage and do each trick once and get off and go home. And then a few weeks later, it's nice to go into a wedding and be doing all my close-up stuff 200 times throughout the course of the day. So it's it all depends on, you know, for me, everything in life as well is circular. Everything is cylindrical. So you go round and you go round and you go round. So over here I'm doing close-up, over here I'm doing Christmas parties, over here I'm doing weddings, over here I'm doing kid shows. And it's quite nice to jump from one to the other and be able to mix it up, because it keeps me fresh and it keeps me on my toes. And just as I'm getting bored of doing one, I'm now going to be doing something completely different. And again, it's boom, a change is as good as a rest.
Yeah,
you know, and that's
you get a crossover sort of gags and material where, because I a lot of my gags sort of become more organic, really. So I listen to the audience and then I work with them, and then I'll think of something while I'm being, you know, on the spot, and I'll think that's good, I like that, I can use that. And then I can use it for different things. So sometimes some of the kids come out with something, I'll go, oh, that's brilliant. And I can use it for
kids are brilliant. I told Joel, I don't know if you read it in the book when I sent it to you. I was at a show for a hospice, and I don't do freebies for charities really, because otherwise you just work for nothing all the time. But I do have a few charities that I support, and I do shows for them. So on Christmas Day, I'm not religious at all, but there's a cathedral about 9 miles from my home in Ely, and on Christmas Day they do a free Christmas lunch for families who can't afford, or old people who are lonely and don't want to cook at home on their own, because they won't. So they can go down there. It's £10 a head, but nobody is asked to pay. If you can afford it and you want to pay, you can, but nobody's asked to pay. But they recommend £10 a head. So last year, and I'm going to say this isn't some sales pitch, I'm going to say that 10% of all my sales tonight will go to the charity. But I don't give them the cash. What I do is I've got a friend who owns a toy shop in town, and I go and I spend all the money that I raise over the year. I go and I buy loads of toys, and I take them there on Christmas Day and give them to the kids. I don't charge them for that. I did it last year. I had a great day. There was 200 people turned up for dinner last year, and I did close-up magic for them, and I took about £800 worth of toys in. And the lady who organised it runs a charity for children, so whatever toys are left over, she takes to the charity. And and I have this hospice that I do. I had a friend, I won't mention his name. I had a friend who lost his daughter. She lived for 17 and a half minutes, and she was my goddaughter. And I apologise if I get a bit welled up here. Beautiful, beautiful goddaughter, and she passed away. She lived for 17 minutes. They knew that she wasn't going to survive, and she was born in the children's hospice, and they did everything to make her comfortable for 17 minutes, and the mum as well. And then she passed away, and it's very, very sad. It was a few years ago. And I said to the hospice then, I said, look, you ever need anything, fundraising, anything, I'm never going to charge you for the shows because what you did for my goddaughter. I'm never going to charge you. You want me in every week? I'm here every week for you. You know, if you want me to come in, if there's a child in the hospice and it's their birthday, I'll come in and do a show for them. There's no charge at all. Yeah. And so they did a big charity night, and they booked. So I was the compere, and I was doing a bit of magic as well. Yeah. They had a kids magician who I won't name, and they had a girl dancer, and she was just dancing for a few minutes with a ribbon and a stick. And so they said to us, like, me and the magician, we'd have 10-15 minutes each, and the girl dancer had it to music. She had 5 minutes, but she only needed like 2.5. So they brought all the kids in. In the front row are all the poorly kids who are well enough to come along. Then behind them are all the kids, brothers and sisters and siblings and other kids. And then behind them are the parents. But some of the parents are sat with the children who are really poorly as well. And I come out and I said to the other guy, I said, look, the girl dancer, I said, look, yours is done to music. You got 5 minutes. We were told timing was really tight. He said, look, you got 5 minutes, but you only need 2.5. So let's give that other 2.5 to the kids magician, because as a kids magician, you want to milk the jokes and, milk it a little bit. And I'm doing magic. I'm comparing, so I'm on and off, and I'll be doing some magic in between. So I'll just do 10 minutes maximum, which is another 5 minutes he can have. Yeah. And because I'm on and off anyway. So that's fine. They're going to be sick of me. So I walk out on stage, and right in the front is a little boy, and he's in a wheelchair, a specially built wheelchair. It's got 3 monitors on it. It's got tubes going through his t-shirt into his body. He's obviously very, very, very poorly.
Yeah.
And he's sat in the front row, and he's wearing an Iron Man t-shirt. So I come out, and I'm like, ladies, we've got a couple of celebrities here today. We've got the mayor over there. Hello, Mr. Mayor. Somebody from Pop Idol who I've never heard of. And I told everyone that I didn't know who he was. Got a big laugh. Like, oh, it's so-and-so, who's apparently famous. I've never heard of him, and he'll probably be on Celebrity Big Brother next year. So you'll get plenty sick of seeing him. And he was laughing. He liked it as well. And then I turned around, and we got right in the front row, Mr. Tony Stark himself, Iron Man, in his new updated Iron Man costume. I said, it is low in here, so please don't take off. I know you're a multi-billionaire, but we can't afford to do it, Mr. Reeve. And this kid's laughing his head off. He turns like, Dad, he thinks I'm Iron Man. Like, beautiful. I bring on a couple of tricks, bring on the girl dancer. She comes out, she's spinning her ribbon round, everyone's clapping. She does it really well, everyone gets clapping along. She goes along and she spins it round his head in the front row, gives him a little kiss on the cheek, and he's like, oh, he's obviously the poorest kid here, right? She goes off. Then I bring the kids magician on, and he does one trick. He does Crown Jewels by Supreme, and he does it for 45 minutes. Right? Even though we've been told, get off as fast as you can, it was no, it wasn't Magic Ash. This guy just won't. And the organizer next to me is going, just go out there and take the microphone off him. And I'm like, we can't. It's really unprofessional. And we're looking at him, we're like, get off, get off. And the crown jewels, the jewels come out of the crown, go into a box, they disappear, they change colour, they all become the same colour. It's chaos for about 5 minutes. He drags it out for 45 minutes, man. And we're like, get off the stage. And he finally finishes. And he looks over with a smirk on his face. And we're like, get off. And he goes, oh, okay. And he goes, who wants to see it one more time? And then this little boy in the wheelchair speaks. And he whispers to his dad. And I don't know where he learned to whisper. It must have been on a submarine, because the whole room heard it. And this little boy, this very, very poorly little boy, turns to his dad and says, Dad, I don't think I'll live to see the end of this trick. And then 1 second of silence, and then the room erupts. I mean, I've never heard. My skin just went cold then thinking about it. The whole room just explodes in laughter. And I look at the magician on stage, and he slams the prop down and walks off the stage. And I walk out, and I look back at the organizer guy who was furious 5 seconds ago. He's on his knees crying with laughter. And I walk out, and I went, well, and I just couldn't. And I got down in front of this kid on my knees and just started doing this in front of him. Who is this kid? He's like 7 years old. He's dying in front of us. And he pulls out a line that is the funniest heckle. And it's in the book. The funniest line I've ever heard. And there's no way he could say anything about it. There's no way he can come back from that. You know, that kid is just bam. It's what I call the act assassin. It just kills the act completely. And it was just so beautiful and just so beautifully done. And if anybody else said it, it wouldn't have worked. But because this one little boy who's really poorly said it, it was just an absolute beautiful moment. It's one of my favourite moments in all of history. I will never stop. I normally finish my lecture by telling that story, and I will never stop telling it, because it is my favourite story of all time. Just the look on his face, just oh my God. I was in tears.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
I felt like I was there watching it.
I had another situation once when I was about 14. I used to be in the Sea Cadets, and my dad was the commanding officer of my unit. So even though I had to do my own boots and press my own uniform, he would always make sure it was perfect before I was allowed to stop.
Yeah.
And on Remembrance Sunday, there are cadets, Army, Air Force, Sea Cadets, who stand around the War Memorial, the cenotaph, with the rifles bowed, and they have to stand there for a long time. They're called an honour guard. And I was very privileged that I was always chosen to be the honour guard commander, not because of my dad, because I was very good at it.
Yeah.
And I had to work twice as hard. If I wanted something, my dad would make me do it twice as hard to show there was no favouritism. So I failed my canoeing and my sailing the first time, even though I got the highest marks, because he didn't want to appear to be favoured. That was my dad for you. Yeah. And so I was honour guard commander for about 4 years. And if you want to be on the honour guard, or just be on the guard, actually, more so, you have to go to a training weekend, even though you've done it years for years. And the guy who was in charge of running that was the area commander. So he was in charge of all the units in East Anglia, and like 1,000 cadets. And we would get together with the Army cadets and the Air cadets and the Marine cadets and the Sea cadets. We'd have this guard training weekend. And this guy, Jeff Prentice, he hated my dad because my dad was ex-Navy. Right. And he was a Sea Cadet officer. So even though he outranked my dad always got more respect from the Navy because he was actually in the Navy. Whereas this guy, so my dad had round rings on his arm. This guy had square rings because he was a Sea Cadet officer. And so he hated my dad, but he used to take it out on me and my brothers. So we stood at parade this day, like this, all stood at parade, and he's coming down the line with his marching stick. And your boots aren't shiny enough. Your whites aren't white enough. Your blacks aren't black enough. That's not pressed properly. Get a haircut. Have a shave. Every single person. Your cap's not on properly. Get that sorted out. That tally needs to be tied right. You're going down the whole line. Real. He's a big man bullying 15-year-old. Do you know what I mean? And he goes down the whole line. There's a hole in your jacket. And he gets to me, and there's nothing wrong because my dad would make sure I'd done it right. Yeah. And he gets to me and he looks me up and down and he can't find anything. I haven't got a hair loose, nothing. But now he's been stood there too long. So he's got to say something. So he takes a step back and he gets his marching stick. So he's like this. This is a bit big, but he's like this. And he gets his stick and he puts it right in my face like that. And he goes, "Goodman!" And I'm like, "Sir, yes, sir." He goes, "There's shit on the end of my stick." And I went, "Not on my end, there isn't." And I saw all the blood drain out of his face. And you know the scene in Monty Python where they're trying not to laugh? Well, I've got 500 cadets stood around me trying not to laugh. And he screamed. He made me march around this square for about 3 hours. And it was awful. It was really hot. And my uniform was ruined. And he came up to me afterwards. He said, "You think you're funny, do you, Goodman?" "No, sir." And he goes, and it's like 9 o'clock at night now. And he goes, "Tomorrow morning, you'll be on parade at 7 o'clock in the morning. And if your uniform isn't immaculate, I will kick you out of the Sea Cadets in front of everybody here." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I went to bed. And I got to the mess and everyone's like, "Yay, hero." And I said, "Oh, F this. I'm going to bed. I don't care. I'm not even going to be out there at 7 o'clock in the morning. You can do one." And I stood there and I went to my bed. And at 6:45 in the morning, my mate Ben came through and he woke me up. He went, "Wayne, come on, get up." Or "Goodman, come on, get up." I'm like, "No, I'm not doing it." He goes, "Just get up." And he gave me some toast. And I got up and I went through to the room and my uniform was there. And a whole load of the cadets sat up until like 1 o'clock in the morning and they'd polished my boots and they'd pressed my uniform and they got it perfect. And I stood up there at 7 o'clock in the morning, immaculate. And he was raging. He was absolutely raging. And I just stood there, like really smug look on my face. That's my second favourite story, I think. Just because I got one over on him.
Not on my end.
Not at my end, there isn't, sir. I said "sir" though. I was respectful. Not at my end.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah. But I think that's when my dad realised that I wasn't going to go in the Navy. I think that's when he realised that my path was going to go a different route because my brother was in the Navy and he was pushing for me to go. And I think that's when he realised. And I worked on the ships for 5 years and he came on the ships. And I think that was his payoff there, that I still had a love of the sea. Yeah. But I did it different. I was Merchant Navy, not Royal Navy,
Yeah.
and I did it that way. So my dad would bore you to tears of how proud he was of me, but he would never tell me that.
Of
You
course,
know, he
no.
would never tell me that. He wasn't that kind of man, you know. And in some ways, I hated my dad, and I still hate him to this day. He died 14 years ago. I still hate him for some of the things he did, but in other ways, you know, he's my dad and I love him. And he was never violent. He was passive aggressive, but he kind of instilled in me a lot of the beliefs that I have now, and has made me into the person I am. And I'm very passionate about magic. Magic is my big, you know. Paul Marlowe, Taz, he says that I'm a 24/7 magician. You know, even if I'm watching a film, and I love my films, I don't know if you remember in Spain, Joe, I used to have videos and DVDs, thousands of them. I now have them on download on iTunes, and I've got over 1,000 films on my iTunes account that I can watch at any time. It's my one thing that I have is my films. But magic is the love of my life. Only seconded only to my daughter. But you know, it's one of those, and I'm very passionate about it. I hate seeing people ruin magic deliberately, and I hate seeing people hurt magic. But I'm very passionate. I don't care if you're a bad performer. If you're performing, then you deserve respect. But if you're intentionally doing it to ruin magic, that's a different thing. But you know, if you see somebody doing tricks and they're not doing it very well, then you know they still have the balls to get up and do it, and they should be respected for that. So I'm very passionate about that kind of thing. So I've got a car alarm going off. I was doing a live show last week, and there was a football club, and I had about 25 guys were watching, and an ambulance went roaring past my house really loud, like the loudest I've ever heard it out there, like really loud. And I just went, he's never going to sell an ice cream going that fast. It was just a perfect joke at the moment. Always got to have a joke.
Oh, yeah. Well, Wayne, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before we go, I think, seeing as you're such a film buff, I do love my films. I obscure ones and everything else in between. Is there a film that you would recommend?
A film I would recommend? Wow. Okay, I'll give you three. I'll give you three very distant films. These should apply. One of these films will apply to everybody, I think. The first one is called Collateral Beauty, and it's full of famous people, but it wasn't a very big release. It's Will Smith, and well, just have a look at it. It's got loads of famous people. Will Smith, at the beginning of the film, he loses his daughter. She dies, and he goes completely inward, and everything is going to. The business is going under, everything, and his business partner's away. And then they discover that he's writing letters to love, time, and death. And so they hire these actors to play love, time, and death and confront him and try. And it's like Meryl Streep and I think it's there's so many famous people. It's amazing. It's really heart-rending. I cry my eyes out every time I watch it. And it's heartwarming, and it's a beautiful movie. And it's Will Smith being one of the best acting he's ever done. He's just great in it. So Collateral Beauty, I would say, I could list millions. If you like, actually, for me, the last Avengers film is one of the best films I've ever seen. I know some people would disagree with that, but it had everything. It had humour, it had emotion, had a great story, it had the conclusion of a lot of arcs coming together. I would say that Marvel is a great. Some people don't like them to say, it's a big light show, but I actually really like the Marvel films. So any of the Marvel films, really, to the second one. And then the third one, I don't know. I've got about 10 I could choose. I really like, for me, I'm going to say it because I'm going after they're going to go, I should have said that film. But anything like the Shawshank Redemption, or anything like that, or The Fugitive. Like The Fugitive for me, Tommy Lee Jones. I've heard he's not a nice person in real life, actually, but I don't care about too much for him. He's such a great actor. During the 90s, he did about 4 films. He was completely out of control in the Batman film as Two-Face. He was completely in control as the Marshal in Fugitives, the US Marshal. And there's another film he did that he was another completely different character. And it just really showed his range. He's such a great actor. You wouldn't imagine that someone who could play Two-Face alongside Jim Carrey could then be like this really efficient detective machine in the Fugitive. But yeah, anything like the Shawshank Redemption or the Fugitive or the Green Mile or any of the John Grisham films. I love the John Grisham books. Any of those, yeah, they're fantastic. Or Deadpool.
What about me? Oh, my favourite film, if I had to pick one, it's an obscure. It's called Memento.
Oh yeah,
Memento's great.
Yeah,
Christopher Nolan, one of the just. I mean, Nolan's one of the best filmmakers out there, and Memento is just when you. For me, Memento is as good as Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
You know, at the end when you get the reveal and the curtains pull back, that's a great. Just to go back onto the magic topic, I think you can learn a lot of, especially for storytelling, from watching good films and apply that to your magic. The Jedi philosophy is all about that. It's all about, I took a Jedi Knight, I took the attributes of a Jedi Knight from Star Wars and converted it to being a performer. So combat ability. It's not about having a fight, but it's about being able to control the emotions and control the adrenaline. When something does happen, you don't lose it and you stay calm and in control. Yeah. And it's all that kind of thing. And I think if you watch films, especially films with good storylines, it can benefit you as a performer because they teach you how to tell a story. My greatest skills that I learned were how to walk on and off and how to use a microphone. And I learned that not from watching magicians, but from watching singers and dancers. When I was in Spain as an entertainer in the hotels, I would bring on a comedian and I would watch how he walks over and takes the microphone. I'd watch how he put the microphone back and walked off at the end. I'd watch how the dancers would come out and get ready and then how they would come off at the afterwards as well. And I very quickly learned from these little nuances how to make my own performances better and what to do and what to do. What's that?
Were you dancing?
His plie is amazing.
Did you pirouette on stage?
I can shimmy. But it's those things though. It's the things that we don't. I would say one of the reasons I wrote the theory books is because they're the stuff that nobody ever talks about.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah.
And it's the stuff that I've seen performers like in Spain, House of Illusion, and like in other places that I worked as well. I've seen performers, I've helped performers, and it's just the smallest little change can have the biggest impact on what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, just the smallest. So the first thing I teach people is when you walk out on stage, smile.
Yeah.
So many people walk out on stage and look serious. Walk out there and smile. Give the crowd a smile. Give them your best cheesy grin. They'll love you for it. Don't do it over the top and don't milk it, but just, you know, just walk out. And I always do this, my arms to the side. This is body language. This is very open. It means I'm not hiding anything from you. And I walk out and I'm like, hello, good evening. Thank you. I take a little bow. I turn into a bow. Good evening. Nice to see you all. Hi over there. Hi, hi. There's nobody waving at me. I'm waving at nobody, but I don't care. Hi, yeah, how you doing? Nice to see you. And then I'm you know, and if I can see them, then I generally wave at somebody and hello, how you doing? You know, you're very friendly in the toilets. And then, you know, and then I'm into it. But it's making that connection, it's making that, building that rapport. And if you walk out, I saw a magician once, he's a really good friend, I won't name him. He's a really good friend of mine, and he was doing a show locally to me, and I went to see him, and he was on stage, and he looked at his feet the whole way through the performance.
Really?
To the point that I'm a big guy, and I used to be bigger, but I'm a big guy. I'm 6 foot, I'm big, I'm loud, I have a presence around me. People know that when I'm around them. Yeah, I've had that a lot. I'm a big guy as well. I make my presence known. He didn't know I was in the audience. He didn't know I was stood behind 3 rows of children. Right. He didn't see me because he was looking down the whole time. He had an awful show. He didn't connect with the audience at all. And I really wish I'd filmed it because I would have paid him whatever he wanted for me to allow me to use it, just footage to show me how not to do it. But he made no connection. And it really drives it home. When you see a bad performer like that, it drives it home of what you've got to do. When I walk out, my body language is, I'm a liar by trade. Everything I do is a lie. I can't do magic. I can't magically do this or do that. It's all fake.
Yeah.
But when I walk out on stage, I'm the honest faker there is.
Yeah.
My body language is open, and they trust me, and they come along for the ride with me because they trust what I'm going to do, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And they know it's fake. They know it's fake. They know it's not real. Kids, maybe not. Kids believe in magic. That's fine. But the adults know. But they still believe because I'm an honest person. And that's something I talk about in the book. So honesty amongst deceit. So honesty amongst deceit. You know, you have to be honest with them to lie to them. I know it's a contradiction, but you have to be honest. If I go out there and try and be something I'm not, in as much as personality whatever, they're going to see through that and they're not going to watch me.
Yeah.
It's when you see these guys come out on stage on Britain's Got Talent and they're like, oh yeah, I'm the best singer, everyone loves my singing, and then they're completely out of tune. They haven't connected with the audience. I've seen mediocre singers on X Factor and that win the crowd because they've been honest and they've been upfront with everything, and then the crowd loves them for it, and they forgive them that they're not better than Darius or whatever. And they know they're not going to get to the final, but they like them and will keep them in. You know.
Well, it's amazing how much you can get away with when your audience like you. If you put a report and they like you, they will forgive you the little bits and pieces,
and they're on your side.
So you can get away with.
And that's why I think when I said earlier on, you know, I don't think I've ever had a show where something hasn't gone wrong. That's why I get away with it.
Yeah,
because they like me. They, you know, and they want to see what else I'm going to do, and they want to hear the next bunch of jokes.
Yeah,
you know, guaranteed there's somebody in every show I do. There's somebody writing down every joke I'm telling. You know, so they can do it in the office tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know,
with me.
You could buy your book.
I'm having that one. I'm having that one. There we go. But yeah. But that's you know, that's I think personality is the biggest part of what we have. It's definitely, for me, it's the most important tool in my toolbox. Is my personality. I was at a wedding fair once. This is something I talk about in my lectures. I was at a wedding fair in Newmarket, a big one. And it was getting to the end of the day and the people had dwindled. And then two women walked past me and they said something that I'll never forget. They went, "Why are you looking at me?" No, they said, as they walked past, one of them said, "I think her cakes are the best cakes I've ever seen ever. But I don't like the woman."
Right.
So she wasn't going to have the best cakes at her wedding. She's sacrificing having the best cake she's ever seen because she doesn't like the woman doing the cakes. And that, for me, is everything. You can be the best magician. You can do all the sleight of hand. You can do all the moves. You can have the best suit. You can have all the shiny props, the expensive gadgets and whatever. You can have all of that, and it can mean nothing if you don't connect with the people. And when I'm at a wedding fair, that's all I have. That and a couple of coins. And I do some coin tricks. I do that. And I'm a stealth assassin because I do. I mind read their wedding date, and that's it. That's all I have. Because actually, that's a little bit like I now use as well. I do now use double cross with the cross on the hand, and they brought out a heart. So I do. I stamp the bride, and I draw a heart on the groom's hand, and I take it and drop it on her hand, and now it's on her hand, and he's given her his heart, and it's a nice thing. But they're the only things that help me. So a pen up here, a pack of cards in my pocket, and a couple of coins, and that's it. And my wallet in my pocket, and that's all I have, because I'm not selling the magic. The magic should sell itself. I'm selling me. Every
time.
The loveliest compliment I ever had. My niece came to the wedding fair. She was getting married, and I was a bit estranged from my niece for a number of years. I didn't know her for a long time. I didn't know her friends, and she brought her friends along to see me. And as she was coming over to the stand, she said to her friends, "This is a magician I've got booked for my wedding." And before she could say, "He's my uncle," her mate went, and everyone heard it, went, "How the hell have you got Wayne Goodman at your wedding?" And I was like, "Oh," and she went, "He's my uncle." And I went, "Oh." And it was funny because I went to her shop, and I went to the shop, and I didn't know her. I've not seen her since she was like 2 years old. And I went to this shop, and she was serving. And I came out the shop, and I was with my friend. And I went, "That's weird." I said, "That girl behind the counter was grinning at me." And my mate went, "Well, maybe she fancies you." I was like, "Well, mate, she's a bit young. You know, she's like 18, 19, a bit young, really." So it was really weird. She was like proper grinning at me. Anyway, I bumped into my mum in town, and She went, "Oh, where you been?" I said, "I've been to the there." And she went, "Oh, did you see? Did you see your niece?" And I went, "No." She went, "Well, she works in the works." And I went, "Oh my God, that's my niece. That's why she recognised me, and I didn't know who she was." Also, I looked like her dad because we're brothers. And I went back in, and she'd gone her break. And I said to the girl, I said, "Is her name Chanel?" And she went, "Yeah." And I went, "Oh my God, it's my niece." And she said, "You know what?" She said, "When you left the shop, she said, that's my uncle. He didn't recognise me." And I was gutted. I was so. Anyway, I hung around. And she came back in, and we had a little reunion. And then we chatted, and we became quite close since then. But it was weird. So none of her friends knew that I was her uncle. She'd never mentioned it because we were estranged. I didn't get on with her dad for a number of years, family, and I moved away for 15 years on the ships in Spain, so I never saw her growing up. And it was just absolutely bizarre. Just completely bizarre. But yeah. How did you get Wayne Goodman? He's my uncle.
Well, when people ask us how we got Wayne Goodman on the show, I will say he's my uncle.
Before we finish up, I would just like to say something to everybody. Thank you to everybody who's ordered a package, and I will respond. I've got a few messages. And if you once again, if you do want to drop me a message on Facebook, it's a lot easier to communicate than through PayPal, and I can make sure I've got the right email address and whatnot. So please add me on Facebook if you want to, and please send me a message. And also, I'm very much an open book. I would just like to say this: if any of you like the questions tonight, have been great. They've been really, really good. Elaborate the assassin routine. Dean, it's just the basic routine, Dean. It's a stealth assassin wallet from Alakazam. I had the bride or groom write down the wedding date, and it goes into the wallet, and I peek it, and then I start revealing. So if I know it's a summer wedding, I'll start saying things like, I can see the sun it's going to be a nice day, and I can see lots of people with short sleeves. I think it's going to be a summer wedding. I think it's going to be around June, July, and then I go in for the date. It's just it's very basic routine, but it really resonates with the bride and groom because it's their wedding day. But I would just say, if anybody's got any questions, or if anybody wants to know anything, please don't feel silly about messaging me and asking me. And if you want some help with comedy, or if you want some help with the routine, please don't hesitate to give me a message. I'm as long as I'm online, I will chat for hours. You've seen that, but we can chat for as long as you need to, and I'll help anybody in any way. I'm not one of these people with 30 quid an hour over Skype. All right, I don't believe in all that. I believe I've been very lucky that I've had some great mentors in my life who have helped me and taken nothing back, and now it's my way of paying that forward. The Jedi philosophy, which I'm giving away with the package, at the beginning of lockdown, I made that free to everybody anyway. I said, this is free. If you want it, it's free. I don't want any money for it. Everybody can have it as a gift to the Magic community. I lost my home 3 years ago in a fire. So I was in some flats in Newmarket, and we lost everything basically. And then the council moved me into this house, which I'm hoping in the next 5-10 years I'm going to buy. But they moved me in here, and my friend Magic Ollie, set up a GoFundMe without telling me, and the Magic community all donated. Wayne Dobson was one of the first people to donate. I was in tears, and in the course of about 5 days, I got about $2,500. Which enabled me to get carpets and kitchen like ovens and fridges, and just get the house started so I could get my daughter moved in, because I didn't see her for a couple of weeks, and my friends came out and helped me paint. And so the Magic community really helped me there. And so it's sort of like, if I can give back to that, I think it's important. It's not always about making money. It's not always about, we're a family, we're a community, and communities listen to each other. And I think it should be about, if you're not a very good performer, or if you're not a very good performer, but if you think you need some help and you need somebody to mentor you for a little while, even over Skype or FaceTime, then I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Don't hesitate to give me a message, and I'll look at what you can do, and I'll make suggestions. And like I say, I don't know everything, but I know what I know, and I've got experience, and I've got a knowledge, and hopefully that will be enough for what you need. I don't pretend to know everything. There are some of these people, these gurus and life coaches, who think they know everything, and they haven't got a clue. I don't claim to have all the answers, but maybe we can work them out together. So
I think that's true wisdom. True wisdom is in knowing you know nothing at all.
again, it's just honesty, isn't it? One of my first things I learned was, especially when being around other, because I do a lot of business talks for people, and we get a lot of Q&As, and because obviously the entertainment business is very similar to some industries, it's also very different to some industries as well. And one of the first great piece of advice from a guy, brilliant piece of advice. His name was James, and he was a business expert guy who really knew his stuff and gave me so much advice. Best piece of advice he said to me: learn 3 words, 3 very simple words, and don't be scared to say them. And the 3 words are, I don't know. And if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, don't try and blag it. Just say, that's a great question. Do you know, I've never been asked that before. It's not anything I've ever had to deal with before. Do you know what? I don't know the answer to that. But do you know what would be great? It's for you and me to go for a coffee in the cafe afterwards, and maybe let's break it down and look at it and see if we can not come to some sort of see if we can solve it. You know, and we're all welcome. We'll all go for a coffee and we can discuss it. Let's see if we can work it out together, because you'll get more respect for that than trying to BS it and trying to make it into something that it's not.
Because everybody knows when people start sort of, well, actually, I do, and this is what I do, and I use this every single time. We all know. We all know. You might not say anything, but we do. So
do you know what really makes me sad is when I go to Blackpool and you hear the people in the bar after the convention, they're all talking, and nobody's out of work, nobody's had a rough winter, nobody's had a lull or a dull patch. They're around, they're turning work away, they're so busy. They can't believe how it's the busiest year they've ever had, and they're doing 900 shows a day. I was talking to somebody once, and they said to me, they went, how's your winter been? I mean, it's been the worst year of my life. Been the worst Christmas I've ever had. Shows were down, I don't care. I'm not ashamed to say that I've had a I wouldn't tell my customers that. My customers would go, oh, can you book me in? Well, let me check the date. Even if I know the date, let me just check that date for you. You know, but amongst my peers, I've had a crap winter. Last year, up until the lockdown, was not a great year for me. It was really not a great year for me. And you know, Christmas, a lot of people were sick over Christmas. I had a few cancellations, and I got some of the money for it, and some of the companies were idiots. I will get the money, but you know, they cancelled on the day, and they're the contract they have to pay really. But 2 of them cancelled and actually postponed and put it into January, so that was okay. But it was you just got to be honest about these things. I'm never not busy. I'm normally, if it was normal times, not lockdown, I'm never not busy, because I can book in kid shows, which happen all year round. I can book in this and that. I can do family parties. There's always something happening, which is great. But you know, obviously weddings is what I want to get, because that's where the money is. But it's you know, sometimes you have to take the drought with the sometimes it's feast, sometimes it's famine, and you have to just ride it out. And you know, again, it's cylinder. Sometimes you're busy, sometimes you're not busy at all. And when I'm not busy, like Joel said at the very beginning, when I'm not busy, that's when I'm creating. That's when I'm writing. I've written 4 books over lockdown. One of them's being released on Friday. I did the interaction, which has been released. I've got 3 other books that I've almost finished. I've just got to go through the editing phase, which is the hardest bit, and they'll be released over the next 12 months. I've got other tricks coming out. I've got Get the Joke, which my final proof cards came today. This has been up on my Facebook for the last few days. I've been advertising it. Get the Joke. I'm going to be filming the explanation. I could have done the explanation video, but I wanted to wait for the final proof cards to come through. So I've got the actual cards, because I had these are the final proof, and then these were the original ones that I made. It's Joke Club, but then I changed it to Get the Joke, and I think the colours and the layout and everything is better in that one. So I want to do the explanation with these cards, not these cards. So they arrived this morning or yesterday morning. So I've just been waiting for them to turn up, and now I can start the real work of getting that out. But why sit around playing on the Xbox all day when I can, you know, create some tricks, write some books, do something constructive, and again, always moving forward. That's what it's all about. And can I just say thank you to you two for having me on tonight? It's been great. I've loved it. I'm sorry we've overrun a little bit.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, if you ever need me to come back on again, please don't hesitate to you know, I'd love it. It's been great. And thank you for all. I always say I always say the only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
Yeah.
And tonight there's been some great questions. Some people asking real serious questions. It shows how close we are when we have. That's exactly right, Scott. It's exactly right. Yeah, it's been great. Some great questions, some great guys here. And like I say, add me on Facebook. I love having people to talk to. I love talking magic, and I'll be happy to talk and listen and discuss. So yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, Wayne, you're a superstar. Wayne.
And look what I got. Do you like it?
Oh, that's amazing.
What's this? No, what's this? It's a lamp.
Oh, look, it lights up.
I thought you had one.
No, that's...
I wondered what that was. Looking in our reflection, it looks like that's a balloon model.
Oh, yeah. That's really cool.
Wow.
I love it.
That'll brighten up your day.
Well, Wayne, we'll keep this up on our Facebook so people can watch it. And is there an expiry date with your deals, or is that?
No, if they message, no, I won't. I'll keep it. I'll honour that deal. All I'd ask is if people want it. So say somebody's like, they're waiting for the end of the month to get paid or whatever. And it's a little time difference between now and then. Just drop me a message, or in the PayPal notes, just put Real Workers Magic deal, and I'll know exactly which one they want. And then I'll know exactly which one it is and what they're asking about, basically. So just remind me what they wanted, and then I'll know what they wanted to get.
Superb.
Thank you, Wayne.
Wayne, you've been an absolute legend. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you shortly.
Thank you very much. It's my birthday on Friday, so I'm going to be.
Happy birthday!
I'm doing a magic show. Oh, Joel, just very quickly, did you say you were born in 1985?
85, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to be 35 this year.
What? I'm 34 now.
Yes, because I was born in 75, and I'm about to be 45.
I have no idea how old I am.
Well, it's 2020, so it's going to be a 5. It's going to be not a 6 or a 4 because it's 75. Yeah. So
you're younger than I thought I was. So I'm
there you are. So you're 34.
You've made mine.
I actually haven't had a birthday in 15 years.
I wondered how I look so good.
This year will be the 15th anniversary of my 30th birthday, and I've done that for the last.
I like that.
You get better presents for an anniversary than you do a birthday. So last year was the 14th anniversary of my 30th birthday. So yeah.
I will be stealing that one.
I think it's 16,454 consecutive days alive. I am on Friday.
And still counting. And still improving, getting better with age.
I've been, yeah. My plan is to live forever, and so far so good.
We're achieving our goals.
Guys, have a lovely evening. Thank you very much again, and I will speak to you soon.
Cheers, Wayne.
See you later, Wayne.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
How cool was that? That was amazing. Yeah. Oh, do you know? I'm
full of knowledge.
Do you know that?
Yeah, you like that.
I like that. Yeah, that's nice. I'll be using that.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I think I'm going to take advantage of that bundle deal as well.
Yeah. Really I mean, we've seen some excellent stuff, and we've seen lots of card tricks and things, but it's been the real, other than Harry, sort of, that's talked in depth about the industry and how it works and that sort of thing. And I think, especially nowadays, because we're all pretty much starting from scratch again. So it's like I think Scott said, it's come at an ideal time.
Yeah.
Get yourself, into restaurants and that sort of thing, because obviously they're going to be wanting a draw for people to be coming in. So if you're there going, you can offer this and your competitors aren't, you're going to benefit.
Yeah. And now with the knowledge that Wayne's sharing, I guess it's like a fountain of knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apply them ideas.
Yeah.
You could kickstart a career off all that knowledge.
Definitely. And I mean, it works for him because what did he say? How long had he been at that restaurant?
Well, he's been doing
17 years.
Yeah. And it's been performing full time for over 30 years.
Yeah. So, right. It's been a good one. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you next week. Are we going to tell them who we've got next week?
Who have we got next week?
It's the 22nd next week.
Ooh,
So we have, it is the 22nd next week, I think it is.
Who we got on? Can you remember?
Yeah, I know we've got on.
Come on.
It's the fabulous John Carey.
Oh, yes.
We've got John Carey next week. So get your cards, get your close-up map. I'm sure we'll be learning some fabulous card routines next week. So we'll see you then. We will be having a look at the challenge as well next week, because we've obviously run out of time this week. So the card was the thought of card. So we'll be giving you a bit of extra time. So get your videos in, and we'll be doing that next week.
Yeah, hey.
Hey.
I look forward to it. Thank you, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.